Dial Models Workshop.
Hi, it's Yeji.
And Clint.
Hey, it's Larry. You are entering Models Workshop After Hours, a modeling podcast where we talk about miniatures, model painting, and we cuss a lot. If you can be offended, we're probably going to offend you. Then you're going to laugh, and you're going to feel bad. And then we'll offend you again, and then you'll laugh again. You see the pattern. So kick out, sit back, grab your brush, grab your paints, and get ready to have some fun.
What the fuck was that? I'm literally winding up to do the intro, and next thing I know is
Cole fucking danced in his chair. He was like trying to pretend to make a little squeak from his chair, and he couldn't stop it.
Oh, and this is the welcome to the most professionally done podcast on the internet, Peter.
It's my first one.
So, probably your last two. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Models Workshop After Hours, the most professional podcast on the interwebs today, because we like to lie to ourselves. All right, so lots have been going on the last couple weeks. Actually, for me, the last month. Like, holy shit, I can't believe. I hate when I miss like an entire month. It's just like there's so much to talk about. But anyways, so we don't have a James. No. Before you hit stop, we do have a Peter. I know. It's a downgrade. It's from like the eccentric hippie painter god to random English dude. But we'll make it work. I promise you.
Hey,
though.
maybe some people don't.
As long as it's not Larry's Peter.
Whoa. No, he calls it Thumper.
We said Peter, not Thumper.
But I was gonna say, maybe we just don't know how crazy Peter is. You know.
So does Peter have a crazy Peter?
Not with me, no.
That's detachable.
Hold on. What? What is it in? Is it in the dishwasher?
That would be a good place to keep
Actually,
it.
that's a song.
That is a song, actually.
Yeah, except that he left it at his girlfriend's house. That was
Yes.
hilarious.
What?
Huh?
Yep, I have played the detachable penis song for you.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Am I too young to know this shit?
It's hilarious.
And this is why we get 1-star reviews on Bing Potty.
I may be too young to know this shit.
Maybe.
No, if you don't know the detachable penis song, you need to get some culture, man.
the Yeji need. Yeah, that's the rule for Yeji. Period. She needs culture. She's the most unpulp cultured person I've ever seen in my life. I'll make reference. It's like, you have killed my father. You know, probably one of the most watched movies ever. And she's like, what? What's that?
Killed my father?
She's a baby.
You mean?
See what I mean?
My
See what I
name
mean?
is Inigo Montoya.
Can't-
You have to do the whole thing.
Toya, yes. Now, this is what education
I have a
is
thing
for.
of bubble wrap over here because of Yeji.
I just think you guys are too old.
Dude, my sons were. I mean, my one of my sons was just playing an RPG with us and would not approach a wild hare because he was afraid it was Pookie.
What?
Monty
Oh,
Python,
goodness.
the White Bunny.
So, anyways, this episode is brought to you by Audible. When we're not recording or editing podcasts badly, we are listening to audiobooks slightly better. With this special code over at bit.ly.com, or bit.ly/After Hours Audible, you can get 2 free audiobooks instead of 1 with no obligation ever to buy a single thing. Translation, do a brother a solid. Go sign up, get 2 free audiobooks, and we'll get a little something. You got a couple free audiobooks, and you can cancel that shit, like, immediately. Literally. And we all good. But if you decide to keep on, you can keep it for $14.95 a month for 1 book, which is actually a pretty good deal for audiobooks. Or you can keep it for, I believe, $24.95 for 2 audiobooks. And that's actually what I do pledge at. And, like, no shit, I've been subscribed to Audible. Jeez, I cannot pronounce today. I have been subscribed to Audible for like 3 years at getting 2 books of things. So it's definitely worth it. But seriously, no obligation. Like, as soon as you sign up, if you want to cancel, get rid of it. You get to keep those 2 books for a while. Now, I'll recommend The Martian and Ready Player One. Both of those are phenomenal. I give up. I can't even fucking talk tonight.
Yeah, get the Witcher series.
They
The
also
Witcher
have-
series is amazing in Audible form. I don't know if I could stand reading it the way that it was written.
Yeah, the Horus Heresy has a whole bunch of books out too.
Yes.
And they're really well done.
They've actually had Black Library has produced audiobooks for them for a long time. They've had those books out. They just recently put them on Audible. I was like mind blown.
That's what I mean. They're
Right,
out on Audible though, yeah, because it was actually a bit difficult for me to get a version that would play on a player, and with the Audible and all the app and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like all of the books, like all 40 or 50 or 60 something freaking Horus Heresy books are on Audible now. I was actually really blown away when I saw that, because I walked into a G-Dub store and they were like, hey, those are all on Audible, and I was like, what? Really? Seriously? And I went and checked, and yeah, sure enough, all of them in their original unabridged forms are on Audible. So that was really, really awesome. Witcher series, that one's a good one. It by Stephen King is phenomenally well done.
I don't know if all of them, but a lot of the Dresden books are really well done.
They're all done by the same person. Like
Spike!
Literally, they're all. Spike from Buffy does them, James Marston, and he actually does a fucking awesome job.
That kills me.
And fun fact, you'll actually get to hear him without a British accent, because come to find out, he actually is not British. He was raised and born down in Texas, of all places.
Oh, imagine that.
Well,
yeah, I know.
no,
right?
like seriously, I thought he was British forever and a day. Like legitly. He does have a really good accent.
It's really good to. I mean, I don't like the audiobooks for when I'm listening, or dang it, when I'm listening to painting. When I'm painting,
That's what you're doing
so
right now.
much.
Is you're listening to painting. Ha ha.
Yeah, I'm listening to podcasting, painting while trying to paint. That's not working, by the way.
Well, I'm trying to talk while podcasting, and I'm fucking that all up.
I actually listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm doing painting. One, it keeps me kind of on track, because I know this audiobook is exactly like 8.5 hours, so I can kind of pace myself on, oh hey, that took me 3 books at 8 hours each. Fuck, I spent way too much time on this.
Right? Oh, I'm shaking paint. I got a new thing ordered on eBay. I got a scientific beaker vortex shaker. A lot of people started posting them, and I was like, hey, let me go check that out. And when I did, I happened to find one for like $20, or it was $24 with $15 shipping. I put a $20 offer in, the dude accepted it. So I got it for $20 with $15 shipping. I paid $35. Like the next cheapest one is $25 with $35 shipping, because these things are huge and they're heavy as shit.
I was gonna say, I wonder, if they're...
They are. They're very large. They're very large, and they shake... They're used to shake test tubes, and they shake really fast circles, like really fast. So I'm sitting there looking at all of my paint going, thank God. I'm sitting here looking at this watercolors like, no more wrist injuries from shaking paint. No more fat wiggles.
Yeah, well, that's what he tells his wife anyway.
Hey.
That is
well, shush. Oh, man. So crazy. Yep, Audible, check it out. That's bit.ly/After Hours Audible. You can get those naughty books if you want to. We won't tell.
Yeah, we will.
We'll probably ask for a recommendation.
I was gonna say, I'll be asking which ones are good.
Yeah, so I missed last week because, speaking of After Hours and naughtiness, wife and I went and watched 50 Shades Freed, and it wasn't... It was a 50 Shades movie. It wasn't bad. They actually showed more of him than they have in any of the other movies, and they seemed like they forgot that Dakota Johnson had an ass, because they didn't show it but like twice, and it's like, that's the best feature of the film. Her butt.
I haven't seen any of those, so I don't know.
My wife likes them, and it's fun being able to go out with the wife, and she was super excited about seeing it, so we went and had B-dubs, and then from B-dubs we went over to the movie theaters. It was her first IMAX film. She had never been to an IMAX film before, so...
You saw 50 Shades in IMAX.
Well, it was more like Climax, but that's beside the fact. But yes, we saw 50 Shades.
Have you thought of doing
IMAX.
the movie pass thing with how much you guys go watch movies?
It might benefit me, but I don't think it would benefit the wife so much. She watches like 3 movies a year. I watch usually 20 or 30, so it would probably benefit me. especially if they're talking. There's rumors that they're going to be introducing IMAX purchasability, maybe for an upgraded fee.
Meh, not into IMAX.
No, IMAX isn't 3D. IMAX is just a different ratio that it's shot on.
Yeah, it does some weird things with my glasses for some reason. I don't know. It's just.
I think it's just weird things to you. It does. It does.
Yeah, probably. I'm just weird, But you knew that when you love me anyway.
There are times, like whenever you pass me 4-hour-long podcast. It's all her fault, folks. The last podcast, totally her fault.
It was not my fault.
She was like, I get James all to myself. 4 hours later,
we finally have the terrain podcast.
Yeah, we had like 3 train podcasts in one fucking episode.
I know, it was awesome. We wanted to make up for, all the times we missed.
So for those who were complaining about not having train podcast, there you go. All right, so now that we're like halfway through the show, yes, today we have a special guest all the way from overseas, and this is actually a British dude that's in Britain. I know it's kind of weird for this podcast. And the reason... Well, no, it really is. Like, okay, Peter, what time is it over there?
It's 20 to 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that's why we never have any UK guests. Like, literally, when we record, it's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. So that's why we have never had anyone from the UK on the show. Australia is difficult, but it's doable. But for the poor folks over in the UK, yeah, it's like butt crack early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So he's making a sacrifice. Now, part of the reason he's making the sacrifice is because he wanted to hang out with the cool kids, and the other part is that we're going to be solving that problem about bringing people from the UK on. And how are we doing that, Peter?
We are starting Models Workshop After Hours UK.
Yeah. So all the dirty fun with weird cuss words inserted in. You bloody wanker.
Okay.
But yeah, so
we'll be giving it to you without the corrupted English. We'll just give it to you with the original cussing, right?
Oh,
I guess. Didn't they discover not too long ago that the American accent was actually the accent, and it was the UK, the British that actually adopted a different accent?
I didn't read that report.
Oh, okay. I'll have to dig that one up. But no.
Yeah,
we are expanding, and we are in the process of talking to a few people. Peter's going to be the frontline producer and editor of the UK edition, while the people over on the US edition are going to stay the same. So a lot of people, whenever I post it up, hey, looking for UK hosts, they're like, oh, it's nice to see that you're bringing a Brit on the show. And it's like, no, we're not bringing a Brit on the show. We're bringing the show to the Brits. And they even got more...
Technically, we did bring a Brit to the show tonight.
We did, but we're not bringing a permanent Brit to the show unless he wants to hop on at 4 o'clock in the morning, which more power to you. But the main idea behind this is the fact that we are actually going to have a UK show, which is going to really open up a lot of doors for the people over in the UK to come on and do interviews, such as the guy that owns Manic. He's been wanting to come on, and there's been a few other people, and we are talking to some pretty big names. I'm not going to drop any right now for coming on as part-time hosts, and a couple people, one of which has been a longtime member of Models Workshop, coming on as a more full-time host position. So it's going to be really similar. Actually, in all honesty, once we have everything set up, it's going to be... You guys are going to... It's going to sound relatively the same. It's going to be the same randomness. It's going to be the same just bullshitting around and then talking about pain and hanging out and bullshitting with your friends. And it's going to be edited the same, so it's going to sound the same. The only difference is it's going to be 2 different crews, and one's going to publish on A week and the other one's going to publish on B week. Right now, B week, we're not publishing anything, so... more content. Everyone has been literally bitching for the last year and a half that they want more content. They want it on a more weekly basis. Guess what? You got your wish. There you go. Be happy. Prosper. Celebrate.
What you wish for.
Yeah. Fools.
Now just wait for the comments to roll in.
What the hell were you thinking, people? Now, we will be cross-pollinating a little bit, I'm sure. It could be like Peter's like, hey, we're short a person. You know, it happens with us too. That's where we get the two people podcast, or sometimes the two occurrences where it was just me rambling on for 30 minutes. Horribly bad. I talk a lot. I apparently can't talk a lot when I'm by myself. Yeah. But so you'll hear us popping over and having them pop over to us and vice versa, and so there'll be a little bit of cross-pollination, I'm sure. Probably mainly James, because that guy never sleeps, and he is the Paintopedia of people.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted that he's not on tonight, because I wanted to say hey, because I've been listening to him for years.
Okay, so if you want, seriously, I shit you not, he was no, I kid you not, he was actually really disappointed that he couldn't come on. But what happened is his studio's in the basement, much like mine is, and he got flooded real bad up in Chicago with all the snow melt, and then like 4 days of rain straight with the snow melt. Oof. So he actually hasn't been able to ship anything out, like commission-wise, so he's utilizing this time to get caught up, but he was actually he was like, man, I really wanted to come on, yada yada yada, and he was talking about possibly recording next weekend. Our B week was supposed to be me and James sometime just sitting around and bullshitting, but I tell you what, if you want, Peter, what we can do is me and you and him, or just you and him, can sit down and bullshit. Just not for 4 hours. At least not recorded for 4 hours. I beg you. I don't have the bandwidth.
You could have cut it off.
That's what she said, but my name ain't Bobbit. Kind of goes against...
Speaking of snow, guess who got snow today?
I heard that shit. It was like 50 here, and fucking
crazy.
Vegas got snow. What the fuck?
And it didn't stick, and it went on the ground as rain, but like you could see snowflakes fluttering about, and you're just like, holy crap.
That's just weird.
There are probably some people who legitly had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Well, you know how there's curtains, like when it's raining, you see the curtains are gray? Well, like this morning as I was driving to work, I saw curtains of white, and I was like, is that fog, or is that like snow? And then I get to work, and it's like snowing like an hour later. And I'm like, whoa.
I was all like,
whoa.
So, Yeji, Clint, what have you guys been up to since you weren't on last episode either?
What were we up to? Oh, it was a friend's going away party, so that's why we weren't on.
Yeah. The old henchman for Malifaux, who I took his spot, kinda, and who became a pretty good friend with us and all that, he ended up getting fired, or more like laid off from his job here. Took him about 3 or 4 months to find a new job. When he did, he found it in Washington State. So,
yay!
He's happy. He's probably having a lot of fun up there, but it kind of sucks that we lost a pretty big proponent of the hobbies down here. But
so he's going from a desert to a fucking rainforest.
Oh, he wanted to.
He is in hog heaven right now. He absolutely got tired of Vegas after a couple years. So,
dude, Washington's
awesome. There's not a whole lot wrong with Washington, but it's just another friend we can go stay with now if we ever, decide to take an actual vacation.
Head up to PAX.
Yeah,
that could be cool. I wish I was more into War Machine and Hordes, because that's where Privateer Press is headquartered.
That's also where Magic the Gathering is headquartered.
Magic the Gathering, yeah.
I stay away from that card crack. I have plastic crack.
There's actually quite a few gaming companies that are up there, so... Oh, man. So, Amy, other than, killing all my bandwidth, what have you been up to?
Killing my eyes. I did 43 grots and a battle wagon, and I built 4 mech guns and 3 scorches out of truck parts.
Nice. Oh, so, okay. I had a Bane blade that I had, for years. It's an old plastic Bane blade that is not in the best condition. So I sold it to Amy, who does a lot of orc stuff, because she was wanting to buy a Bane blade to tear apart and turn orky. Well, the Bane blade I have is perfect for that. The parts are all there. They're just kind of oddly placed, and they weren't put on very well. So Well, yeah, for orcs, it's perfect because, and it gives her the frame, which is 90% what she needed. And so she picked it up from me, and I was actually able to pick up, was it Francis Didier? Yeah, Francois Didier, he did the Ninja Turtles that are all on a decorative base, and I've been wanting them for like 4 years, and I finally picked up a pair. They came in the mail today. I haven't even opened them yet.
Oh,
I haven't
sweet.
even...
Oh
God,
cool.
They look gorgeous, and from everything I understood, the casting is super clean, so they look just as gorgeous in real life too. But yeah, I haven't opened them yet. I'm waiting. I'm probably going to do a show all. Someone got on to me. They're like, "Oh, so Models Workshop is doing unboxing videos." I was like, "I've done unboxing videos for years now.
Unboxing videos for forever.
I don't do them often. I don't do them on anything, but I do them on stuff that people might actually like." I don't really do unboxings. I do content reveals because I don't know how many times I bought something and I've been like, I wonder what's in this. And you go to look and you'll find an unboxing, but you don't find like people showing what's in there. So what's in that box that you're looking there, Peter?
What? Oh, sorry.
I hear clank, clank, clank,
Sorry,
and
I'm
little
looking
lights
for my,
turning on every single time. I was like, good Lord, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for my color shaper, and I found it, so I'll shut up now.
Oh, he found his color shaker, so it's going to be a whole different type of noise. And of course it is.
Shaper.
Oh, shaper. I was like, yeah, because it's sure going to be a shaker. That's what that buzzing noise is. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is 3:30 in the morning, right?
Oh. It was funny because we were in our chat, like, preparing. We actually prepared for this podcast, folks. How much we're actually going to get into that we prepared for? Unknown. But we actually talked about what...
Yeah, what he doesn't tell you is it was 5 minutes before.
Right. Which... I'm sitting there going, well, fuck, Peter's going to think we are the most professional people in the world because it's 5 minutes before go time and we're sitting here talking about what we're going to talk about. What, Kickstarters and everything else because, we're hardcore professionals. Like in parentheses, little does he know, this is more preparing that we've done in the last 3 months.
Wait,
we are showing off.
Since when?
Yeah, I was going to say, when did we prep?
Well, if some people would actually pay attention to chat before the podcast, you might actually see what the fuck we're supposed to be talking about.
But we did. And all I saw was... I don't know.
You saw, you don't know?
Yeah, I don't know what I saw.
Well, then it's just like that one night. Or that one...
Moving
that
along.
one day, because Clint didn't know what he was looking at either.
I seriously don't see what we were going to talk... I see videos.
No, it was... That's kind of the point.
Oh.
Okay. It was us posting up, hey guys, what Kickstarter should we talk about? And like 4 different links got thrown in there. And I was like, hey, Antonio says we need to talk about this for a topic. That was our prep.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I was like, wait, there was more extensive prep than...
Oh, no.
Well,
no, come on. Don't...
Did
don't,
you blink?
Don't go...
I mean,
don't,
you missed it.
don't
my eyes
overreach
are so
things.
small that it looks like I'm blinking all the time.
It looks like you're asleep all the time. What the hell are you talking about? Is it sad that I bought a label maker specifically for the purpose of labeling my boxes on my shelf for organization?
What's organization?
No. That's what a label maker's
But
for.
I bought the label maker specifically to label the boxes on my painting shelf. That's it.
So, it's not like you can't use it for something else. I like label makers. What?
Now, see, he's saying it's earmarked only for that. It cannot be used for anything else now. He's going to make a label to put on the label maker that says label maker only for hobby stuff.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
Well, I mean, he does live in a house with like 5 kids and a wife, and that's not into the hobby, but does other crafty stuff.
And like how many cats?
9 million.
Yes, because cats and kids care about what the fuck label is on a box that they're gonna get into anyway. Trust me, it doesn't fucking
Maybe
matter.
I should start labeling the cats.
My cat damn near got highlighted the other day. Finally, it's the first time he jumped. Well, it's my son's cat. He jumped up on my desk. And I was sitting there, painting, and he likes to get right up in my face, so of course he just about got highlighted. But I don't think he'll jump up here again. He didn't like the experience.
That's okay. Our cat, somehow, we have like this corner that's full of empty boxes that we're going to use for shipping things out or for whatever. So I come home and there is carnage all throughout the kitchen area that's right next to where the corner of all these boxes are. I'm like, what the hell happened here? Then the cat, like, disappeared. She was gone for the majority of the day. Like, I didn't even know where she was. I thought Yeji might have locked her in the closet again on accident.
And then when I came home is when she came out.
I'm safe now. I'm safe. So, Peter, since you're going to be the head man over at the other podcast, we have been requested to talk about Zenith highlighting.
Okay.
Go, Gadget Ranger.
Zenithal.
Zenithal. Shut the hell up.
You want me to talk about Zenithal highlighting? Okay.
Yes, please.
What do you want to know? From the beginning to the end?
Oh, yeah. And explain it so people remember, kind sir, this is an audio format, so you need to explain it where people can understand and translate it.
Okay.
Welcome to the first challenge.
Painting on radio. Okay.
Yeah. For 88 episodes. Now, let that sink in for a minute.
I know. There's the old joke over here is, for those of you watching black and white, the pink ball is the one next to the red one. That's for snooker people. Yeah.
A snooker.
Snooker. That's like pool, but with more colours.
Yeah,
it's
more
not
complicated.
It's not really complicated.
I can barely American English over here. Like, adding English to the mix, like, oof, really getting tough.
Okay, so Zenithal highlighting then. It's about making your model, your mini, look like it's being lit by the sun. So if you've got a dark-coloured mini, you want it highlighted as if you hold it in front of you, and from an angle from the top, imagine a light is hitting it from there, and you paint it lighter from that angle, splashing down across the whole thing. So where if you were to hold a pencil against, let me grab something. Not that you can see it, but I'm holding a sort of small troll orc thing, and I'm holding it in front of my studio light, and one side of it is quite shadowy, and the other side is quite bright. So if you imagine that from far away, all the bits that the light then hits on the way down, those are the bits that you want to paint brighter, and all the shadowy bits are the bits that you paint darker. So when you take it away from a light, it still looks like it's being lit.
Now, is that Zenithal highlighting, or is that object source lighting?
It's a little bit of both. So if you've got a flame, if they're holding a torch or a laser cannon or whatever, then if that's glowing, you can make that shine on it. But this is an ambient. Zenithal is about the light that hits it from an ambient source. So rather than from a small spot source, you want it from, like I said, from the sun.
Now, do you do this before or after you highlight?
I tend to do it from the beginning, from priming. So I tend to, unless I'm priming in a color using like a Vallejo surface primer color or an army painter.
I love the fact that we can literally hear you looking over at your paints.
Yes, I literally did look at my paints.
We literally could tell.
Was I off mic?
No, you were on mic. You just quieted.
You didn't.
No, he actually he was talking, and then as he started moving away, you could tell he was talking away from the mic. It was funny. You weren't off mic. It was just you could tell you looked over at your paint rack. It was funny. Shut up.
I'm illustrating for radio. Okay. So I tend to prime all my stuff in grey, and then maybe I'll tip it upside down.
How many shades?
Ha ha ha.
Down, boy.
49.
That's only if you're going white.
Well, if you're going black, then it's like
You can't go back.
God!
I'm just shrinking into my chair.
You're priming.
That's all right.
Peter. Sorry.
So I prime usually using the Vallejo surface primer, the grey, and then I'll tip the thing upside down and I'll shoot black from underneath and then white from above. So
now, when you say shoot, are you using an airbrush?
With an airbrush? Yeah, no, airbrush. I prime everything with an airbrush, unless like the one-to-one busts that I'm working on, I'll tend to use a rattle can for that. So whole thing goes grey. Shadows I'll darken up with the airbrush, and then highlights I'll just sort of mist on some either light grey or white or an off-white, and then tend to paint. Well, in theory, I'll glaze layers on so that I still see those graduations that I've made with the airbrush.
So what happens when you accidentally shoot it in her eye?
I was going to say, how do you remember where the highlights and the shadows are? Because I get to a certain point in my mini, and then I'll be like, fuck.
Honestly,
I forgot.
I'll take this one. Actually, son of a bitch. Okay, so what you need to... There's a couple ways you can actually get a good idea if you can't picture it in your head. And some people can, some people can't. I can picture like highlights and shit in my head relatively well. But if you cannot, one of the easiest ways that I've ever seen, and this is another thing too to keep in mind. If your piece is in daylight, then you have to keep in mind how much OLS is going to be going on to your model, because if it's daylight, you're not going to get a lot, but if it's nighttime, it is, and that's how you have to increase the contrast to your zenithal highlighting, yada, yada, yada. But basically, the easiest way is to go get a damn Bic lighter, get your model, light the Bic where the damn light source is going to be, aka the sun, and take a picture. Seriously. Easiest way to remember, and it shows you exactly where your highlights and where the midtones and where the super darks need to be. Now, you can adjust those, like, yes, daylight, there's light everywhere, but it's a lot harder. Yeah. But so whenever you flick your Bic and you have the model sitting there and you snap that picture where it's like completely black, that's where you bring it up to a more shadowy tone, and where it's super lit, you bring it up to quote unquote normal tones, possibly even a little bit brighter. And that's honestly the easiest way, if you can't envision it, to get your highlights and your zenithal and even your OLS. There's nothing stopping you from holding it out in front or roughly where the position of the gun is going to be, flicking the lighter, snapping a picture, and then going, okay, so when you look at it, you can see that it's going to hit the nose, but it's only going to carry this far over the nose. So I don't want to go over too much, because then I'm going to get into areas that need to be shaded. And that's a trick that Sinjin has used on multiple occasions to great success, as well as Matt, I believe, uses it. And a lot of people use it. I mean, it's a really super easy technique. Flick a light, put your model down, turn off the lights, flick a lighter, snap a picture. Boom, you have everything you need. It doesn't have to be a lighter
either. It can be like, I just use my lamp that's overhead and just do it in a certain angle. But
I like a lighter more because, one, it doesn't overpower the piece. Because if you get a flashlight, they tend to be a little too bright. So a candle or a lighter, I personally like, because it's not super bright, and also the light itself is very small and very focused.
Well, the other thing was and that's what I was going to continue on saying, is when I use a lamp, instead of leaving it that way like as a photo, turn it into black and white.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can use the values better that way.
Oh, shit. Doubly shit. We need to do an episode on utilizing cameras to help you improve your painting. That's actually... No, seriously, there's a couple tricks you can do with pictures that we're not going to get into, because this is a perfect topic for another podcast, that can actually use to help you recognize your screw-ups.
I always recognize them when I take the pictures of my finished minis and try to show everybody.
One of them, which is to take a photo of a full
color. Yeah, Jay, shut up!
Oh my god.
And turn it black and white.
Anyway. Literally, I just said that we're going to talk about this on another podcast. Shut it.
Oh my god.
Shush. Damn it.
Wow. Well, okay,
I'm gonna have to go in and for the first time ever beep something out, and it's not even a damn cuss word.
Yeah, she's getting censored.
Then isn't that where you go and take the picture and beep?
I see how it is. God. Bleep out the Asian. Asian.
Shut up before I forget again. Jesus
You're
Christ.
old. It's not hard.
So, Peter. Yeah, shut up, Larry. God damn it. So, Peter, do you do the highlights or do you do your, you start with your shadows?
It depends. I know. I don't have I don't have a technique that I do every time, because literally every model that I've done in the last 2 years has been different. So I like to throw it up in the air and see what happens. But yeah, apart from I'll usually start with the mid-tone of the prime paint of the grey, and then I'll go with the dark stuff, and then probably the highlights. But then I guess I would start at the face, start in the middle, and work my way out.
Starting on the face is good.
Well, I guess I guess I start on the flesh usually when I'm doing... Not that I'm doing like a real... I mean, I'm doing armies, so they tend to be more, tabletop, not so much a lot of highlights and different...
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that I'm doing is sort of eBay pro-painted, sort of...
Hold up.
No, dude, that's what I do.
Dude, so what are you doing? You're just dipping it in a can of latex paint and like throwing black on it a little bit and done.
Pretty much. Maybe even dip it in some varnish after.
Yeah, the house varnish, people.
Absolutely,
not the miniature painting varnish.
Yeah, no, just like float it in future.
Boat varnish.
Boat varnish. Lovely.
Hey, that works in certain places. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
Dipping into, I don't know about that. So,
and then once you've got your paint down and you figured out your values as you'll talk in the future podcast about using the photos as reference, then you just work on contrast. So once you've got the angle of the, it is object source lighting. It's just that your object is really, really far away. So if you stand out, next time you have a sunny day, just go and take a picture of your other, your better half, standing in bright contrast sun, sort of face towards the sun and see and then see what values you get off it, and you see where all the brighter areas are in the photograph and the darker. I'm moving on to that other podcast. This is really hard not to talk about that.
Yes, it is. So I kind of cheat when I do my zenithaling because I'll completely do my priming, which I generally do in black, and then I'll go straight to white, choose the exact angle I want it to be at, and then I just hit the model from there.
Right. I just do that extra step and shoot the shadows just to get the extra contrast from the other side as well.
So is black with a zenithal? Would it be typically something that seems pretty okay from most angles? Because I know a lot of the object source lighting I've seen is really only good when you view it from the one angle.
I've never had a problem with it.
I would like to throw one thing in this real quick. Zenithal priming, the word zenithal actually is a term for an exact area where the sun is coming from. So
true.
Yeah, straight above.
But this technique can be used for any way of getting where your highlights want to be, under lighting, peak lighting, where that's like directly above the model in front. I mean, all the way around. It's a really handy way to get your highlights down real quick, so you don't even have to like kind of envision them. The paint kind of does it all for you.
I think it can look really good if you're doing a squad or a full army. If every single one, if they're all facing the same way, because the sun will be hitting them all in the same direction, so you'll get a really good sense of the light. Then, if you have 40 or 50 minis all being hit from, I guess it's like from 1 o'clock. If you're drawing a clock face, a spherical clock face, it'd be like 1 o'clock. holding the Mini. If you put a ball around it, then it's up and to the right a little bit, for instance. And silence.
I'm having issues with the label maker.
Thinking you probably... You probably want to, you would want to do more glazes then, wouldn't you? I mean, it seems like the typical G-Dubs way of doing it is, with the base coat and the highlight 1 and the highlight 2, it is not going to be, because those base coats cover
Absolutely.
up all
Yeah,
that
it's it's almost you then have 1,000 layers of glaze to get the paint that you want. Oh, and I saw this technique first with a guy called Romain, who used to be the 3 Colors Up painter on Beasts of War. He's a French dude, and he is an amazing painter. I don't know what's happened to him. He's disappeared a few years ago from Beasts of War, and he's just gone off and done his own thing, got a job in the Quickie Mart or wherever. But he's one of the best painters I've ever seen, and he starts and he just spritzes a little bit of white from the top and then glazes so many layers. I mean, they were doing clock wipe transitions on the videos to just to get from stage to stage. It was like, and 3 weeks later, this is where I've got to.
Yeah, that's how Yeji used to paint.
Wow.
It was basically dirty water.
Yeah, it got annoying real fast.
You can get some great results for it, and I mean, at the minute, I think with some of the models that I'm painting, it's a case of do it the GW way of take a palette knife and throw it at the thing.
No, but that's what James also calls his shaded base coat, is pretty much the Zenithal, and then he sketches in more values into it, hence the shaded base coat, and then from there he'll use clear. Like the Reaper clear colors, or like the ghost tints from Minotaur, and so he'll use those. Yeah.
Although apparently you have to be, I was talking about that on Twitter, and somebody was saying that you got to be careful putting paint back over those ghost tints, because apparently they can come off.
Oh, fracturing. That can be caused by a couple different things, such as not letting your previous coat dry, which is like what. Which is like 90% of it. It can also be just because it's a fragile paint, especially if it's matte. Mattes are incredibly fragile. That's why scale 75s break so easy when you paint over them.
Oh, okay.
That's matte paint is incredibly fragile.
That's interesting. I've never had that. Well, it's not specifically a matte.
Have you never?
The Vallejo black.
Have you never heard?
That I've never
have
seen
you
it.
never heard to the old school method of spraying? Of hitting a model with a gloss varnish, letting it dry, and then hitting it with a matte varnish to dull it down. Yeah. That's the reason, is because matte paint, matte primer, matte base or clear coat is fragile, because what happens is, and I actually did a Just the Facts on this, I just need to process it. Just the Facts, folks, is a series over on our YouTube. It's youtube.com/Models Workshop that I'm doing. It's like little 5-minute snippets of just random knowledge bits, and it's Just the Facts, frequently asked questions. So, but to give you a little taste of what's going on, basically when matte paint or matte anything dries, it doesn't dry completely smooth and interwoven with each other, which what gives you the great bond. What happens is it fractures itself, and it has it at a whole bunch of different crystalline angles. You can't see it with the naked eye, but that's what's causing the light to be refracted and make it look dull. It's basically the surface is a whole bunch of little ridges, which also makes it incredibly weak because it doesn't have a super secure bond. So what happens is you want to hit it with a clear coat, because a clear coat, when it dries, creates this super flat surface, which is what makes it shiny. And when it goes, it's all interwoven properly, and when it seals, it's super tough comparative to a matte. So what you do is you hit it with the gloss coat, which gives it that super hard protective finish, and you want to do this especially in gaming pieces, but then you want to hit it with the matte finish afterwards, which will cause it to dull down. So worst case scenario, unless you like hit a model super hard, is that you'll wear off the matte finish and go down to the gloss, and you'll just have to rematte over it. Bada boom, bada bing, aha!
Yeah, and the gloss. I mean, I do a lot of that gloss and then matte, and usually several gloss layers on my metal miniatures for that reason, because they get, there's so much weight behind them. If
They got that
fall,
dunk.
Yeah.
They got that donkey dunk.
You gotta... Oh, man, I have dropped... Every time I work on one, I drop it. I swear to God. So I just have gotten to the point now where... Plus, it's almost like a save point when you're painting it. So, I'll sit here and I'll put a layer on after I'm done with a particular, session or whatever. And then when I come back to it, it's going to be okay.
That's called an intercoat clear. In the automotive realm, that's actually a normal thing. You hit something with a coat of clear while you're working on it. It makes it where if you fuck up, you can actually just kind of lightly sand and take the paint off.
Right back off, yeah. Right.
Same thing with when doing doll face-ups.
Or if you drop the fucking thing, like I do all the time.
Well, it depends on how hard you drop it.
Oh, it doesn't matter for my luck, but yeah.
Whee! Fuck.
I have the Icket, I forget his real name. Anyway, I call him Icky Icket because I didn't like the color I painted. I didn't like the way he was done. He's a Skaven model that's more scryer and was just a bitch to put together and keep together. And then I kept dropping him and kept dropping him. I repainted him 3 times and I finally just said, fuck it. He's whatever color he is now, and he's staying that way.
Jane's in the Technicolor. It's the rat in the Technicolor coat. So, Peter, are you still here? Have you run away screaming yet?
No, this is all good. I love being put on the spot because I also didn't read the list of what you're talking about. About 5 minutes before I saw that there were, I was like, my messenger was like, "You've got 50 new messages." Ah, shit.
That's normal in our chat. Just to let you know.
It'll be quiet for like a day or two, and then suddenly you look back, it'll say 99 plus messages. You're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck, I know. That's why I turn it off at night. I seriously suggest you turn it off.
My Messenger doesn't actually do anything unless I open Messenger. Because of I don't want that telling me. With you guys being 5 and 8 hours out from me, it's like no, leave me alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, I get up, and as I'm walking the dog, I'm looking at my messages, going, "What did I miss last night?" Not a lot.
Yeah. It'll go from you won't have any there will be no discussions to holy fuck, what did they not talk about?
Yeah.
Welcome to the zoo. I wish I could say that this is different or this is not normal, but yeah, it's totally normal. We are the rambling bunch. What can I say?
Well, it's real.
It works.
It's real. It's fun, but I don't know if it's been real fun.
I didn't know about the Zenithal thing, that you wanted me to talk about that, and I'm going to look back later.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to talk about it at the time. I just want to put you on the spot.
Oh, that's fine.
It's called
exactly, and that's pretty much what it was.
Well, I mean, there's nothing physical you can do to me, so yeah, that's fine.
Yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say that. My bad.
Oh, God. We already informed him about Thumper. He should be okay, I think. Run, Peter, run.
Run, Peter Cottontail.
I don't think he's heard the whole story of Thumper just yet.
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, so...
It's on the podcast
he doesn't want
somewhere.
He doesn't want to see Thumper like you did, but...
an introduction. Just saying.
All right, so I was bragging on the podcast one day about thickness, and Yeji fucking called me on it. She's like, bullshit, I'm fucking tired of listening to you talk about this. It's been like that for like 4 years. I call you on it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what, you want me to send you a fucking picture? She's like, yes. I was like,
it wasn't just me. It was me and another girl.
I was like, okay.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you
know, it wasn't
keep
you,
your chat roulette pictures to yourself, thanks.
So, I was like,
oh, wow.
I was like, okay. So I grabbed the one thing that I had laying around that I had for size reference, and it was a quarter. So I put it on the tip and snapped a picture, and all I get back from Yeji is ... Is that a fucking quarter? And I was like, yeah. So the story goes on. that we found later, Yeji rushes into the bedroom where Clint is asleep and goes, Clint! And he's like, what? She's like, fucking look at this! And shoves the phone in his face.
Oh, God!
And he's like, what the fuck am I looking at? And she's like, that's Larry. He's like, I really don't want to see that.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, that's the story of Thumper. Now, I mean, if you really want, Peter.
At what point did you get that impression?
I
was just waiting for the little bunny in the clearing to talk to Bambi.
Wrong type of movie, dear. I don't know. You use Apple phones, so I figured that was just right into your thing.
Oh, nothing wrong with Apple. Just fucking overpriced shit.
It's just not a real phone. That's what it is.
No. There is something wrong with Apple.
It's just a Galaxy S6.
They just had a class action lawsuit because they would literally make your phone go slower after a while, so you had to get a new one.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a thing.
Oh, yeah, because, Microsoft doesn't do shit like that.
They don't get caught doing it.
They don't just straight up fucking
yeah.
admit it like Apple did. Like Apple was just like, yeah, we do it.
Like Google.
It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
That was...
Oh,
like really
another
good?
thing that I ended up. Oh! Speaking of Kickstarter, so many moons ago, like when
What the fuck did that come out of the Kickstarter?
Hey,
because you kick iPhones.
Okay? So you've been around me enough to know that we are lucky enough that I didn't go on a tangent from the last episode I was on a month ago. Okay, you know my tangents. All right. At least this one is all related to somewhat within the same podcast. We have talked about Kickstarters a moment ago. I'm just going back to them. Shut up.
Okay.
So,
whatever.
No, actually, it's more of what's happened since the last time. I'm going back to one of those. So I backed a Kickstarter, and actually we talked about it on one of our Kickass Kickstarters called the Boss Bag. And it's the Bag of Superior Sorting, which is a dice bag that has all these really cool compartments in it that you draw one drawstring and it closes all of them. Really nice design. It wasn't overly complicated. Like the guy knocked it out of the park with the design and delivered like half the bags and then disappeared off the face of the earth. Like literally delivered half the bags to people and fucking disappeared. Like no one knew where he went. Nobody was getting their bags. No emails were being answered. We heard that he was in jail. Like, I shit you not, we heard he was in jail, and we're like, well, what happens to all of us who haven't got our bags? I guess we're just fucked. Now, this is like 2.5 years ago, and he was knocking these bags out pretty quick. And then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, I got a shipping notice in my email for my Bag of Superior Sorting. So apparently he made parole or fucking decided he got a little bit of money in his... I don't know what the hell happened. He has not mentioned anything. But I'm not the only person. Like several people have started getting their, a lot of people have started getting their notices.
Well,
so it's like,
what else are you gonna do in prison? Might as well make some fucking bags,
right? No, I really don't know what happened, and it was crazy because, like I said, he delivered half of the bags. So it was like, why? How do you deliver on half of a Kickstarter and then just disappear and not do anything with anybody else? It was just really, really weird. But yeah, apparently he's back and he is starting to deliver again, which I'm super excited about because I actually just received my shipping notice right before the podcast. So I was like, yeah, and I really wanted that bag. I mean, I'm not Yeji. I don't back every fucking Kickstarter under the sun.
I've stopped that.
How many podcasts?
Well, the only reason you fucking stopped that is because you broke now.
No, we just sat back and did an inventory of all of our stuff and we're like, oh, this is kind of a lot.
Yeah, I think?
That's easy to do.
Well, you weren't around during the heyday of their ordering there. They had a problem. And it was called Kickstarter.
Yeah, which is why I asked the question if anybody wants Zombicide Black Plague.
No, not wants. Wants to buy.
Oh, yes, wants to buy. Sorry.
Yes, you need the operative word in there. You fob it off on Nandy?
I tried.
Yeah, you should, because
Okay.
he sure as shit fucking Rochambeau me into fucking,
Well,
hey, you
So
He needs to be a salesman, man.
Or not mine, but our local game store here does a really cool thing every 6 months where they will do a auction. So you bring whatever you want to sell off, right? It doesn't have to be models. It could be fucking whatever, D&D books, you name it. Anything gaming related or nerd related, culture, whatever. You go up there and you put your starting bid price, and they keep a log of what each lot belongs to what person, and they'll auction off everyone's lot at the same time. So if you had 17 things, they
Nice.
auction all 17 things off before they move on to somebody else's. So it keeps it kind of in there. So they will auction everything for you. They don't take a fee. They don't do anything. And there's going to be a taco truck running over there this time. It's going to be really cool.
Wow.
It's really nice to be able to pick up new to you armies and other things like that. Plus, it gets a lot of people into the shop. So he'll sometimes run specials on certain games that he needs to get rid of as well. Mainly freaking The Walking Dead game.
He should stream that shit online and do online sales too. There's a couple comic book shops that do that and do really well.
Well, the one thing though is, since they want to allow credit card sales and all this other stuff, everything that you buy there goes into direct store credit.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. You can't shoot yourself in the foot while you're doing this, so if I fully support the fact that he's making if you sell it in my store, it's going to store credit. That's actually pretty common.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it'd be cool to have bits meetups and stuff.
Yeah. So that's actually going on tomorrow. So I'm going to be taking Zombicide and some other stuff, and just see if anyone wants to buy them. I mean, if not, then they come back home. It's like whatever. I'm not out anything.
Cool.
If they don't sell, maybe I'll talk. Me and my family are getting more into board games, so
We'll see.
we actually I was running a little bit behind getting here because we were in Muncie. I went and picked up a couple board games and a couple card games, not like CCGs, but the set card games, like Cat Fighters, to play tomorrow. Originally, we were going to go up to the Kokomo Toy Store, which is like a really well-known toy store in our area, and the weather forecast came out, and it is supposed to be absolute shit. So I was like, you know what? I really don't feel like driving in a torrential downpour, so let's go buy some games, and we'll sit at home and play them. So we took all the money we were going to spend tomorrow, went and bought board games, and we were going to do board games. Haha. So that was the reason I was running late, and everything was cool until I got to a point. I guess they're doing road work, and there was a freaking bridge closed. I was like, what? When the hell did this happen?
Yeah, bridges aren't really a thing here.
Right, because you have to have water to have, my fault. I forgot you live in Dune.
No. We live in hell, and today it froze over.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it should never get below freaking 46 degrees here.
Well, you're in the desert, so technically it should, yes, it might.
So, Peter, how long have you been painting miniatures?
About 20 years.
Oh, so
To a good level,
about the same
about
as me.
8 years.
So, what got you into painting miniatures?
So, let's say, first thing I painted was actually, I was into scale models. I still am, but a friend of mine at school, so this was the beginning of high school, I was about 11, 12, and a friend of mine, he used to work on archaeological digs, and he was really big into his history, and built tanks and other sort of miniature armour at the time, and the stuff he was building was sort of 72nd scale. He wasn't into 35th, and so he gave me one of his spare kits and said, "Here, have a go." So
little did you know he was actually your dealer.
He was yeah.
Your first hit is free.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I had a go with this thing, and I bought a couple of paints from my local news agents, which were Humbrol enamels, and a couple of paint brushes. I didn't have any thinner at the time or anything to clean my brushes, so of course I learnt about enamels not working in water very quickly.
Oh yes.
And from there, I progressed. The first model that my dad bought me was a Ferrari. It was like a 308 GTB that he and I built together. And I discovered there and then that he's not good at building models, and he shouldn't help me. The first thing he did was he snapped the front axle in half, and then with the plastic cement, the one that comes in little metal tubes, he basically welded it back together by putting like a ball of cement and then holding it there for about an hour until it was it. And 2 days later, this lump of crap had dried, and we could move on to the next bit. But we didn't have any paint for that. We didn't paint it. This was a bare plastic white Ferrari with a windscreen, and that sat on a shelf for a few years, I guess, and then went in the bin. And then I think the first we had so I grew up in a town called Peterborough, which is about
ironic.
I know, right? It's about 100 miles-ish north of London. I'm guessing 100 miles. I don't know, maybe it's less. And we had one, apart from Games Workshop, which I didn't know at the time, we had one it was called The Dungeon. And you went in there and it had lead miniatures on the wall. And another friend and I we'd cycle home from school, and we'd park up and pop in there. And somewhere in my boxes, I still have the Minotaur that I bought. It was the first miniature that I bought from that shop. And I painted that with, I think I painted that with enamels. And they were thick, they were sloppy, but I was really proud of doing that. This other friend of mine was more into aeroplanes and things, and he would sit on them and then give them to me to fix. So from the age of about 14, 15, I've been fixing other people's shit, which is kind of what I've got in front of me at the minute. I've got a box of 50 badly put together, very expensive, some of them, miniatures, which I've been given as a commission to paint. So then when I went to university, so I was 18, 19, and I needed to get a job. And I liked painting models, so I went to Games Workshop and I bought a shitload of models, with the intention of learning the game so well, so quickly, that they would hire me there and then. This is 2nd edition 40k, and I didn't buy it. I bought the Space Marines Codex because that was the army I wanted, and I didn't know that I needed also to buy a rulebook. So the Codex meant nothing to me. I was flicking through this thing and saw the paint schemes, and I painted the models, and I enjoyed doing that. But the words meant absolutely fuck all. I didn't know. And
that wasn't the Space Marine Codex. That was the Ultramarine Codex.
That was the Ultramarine Codex. You're right. I'm very sorry.
Yes. I was also playing in 2nd edition.
Oh, I didn't play 2nd edition. I didn't play a single game until 5th.
Obviously, you didn't.
No. My first game was in 5th.
You owned the Codex.
And I was 30-something with my first game.
Well,
did you actually remember to buy the rulebook?
Yeah. So that I've got a 6th edition rulebook and a 7th, and that's it.
You haven't got the 8th yet?
Well, you can download those. They're giving their rules away free now. They just pay for the pretty covers.
I'm really enjoying 8th. I actually bought a codex. Holy shit. Wow. Well, I'm an admin over at the Eldar group on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We've got like 7,000 members. Probably a good idea that I actually fucking buy the codex. I actually had to have them give me a primer of what the fuck all this bullshit Eldari and Dracarli and fucking whatever meant. They're like, oh, it's this. And I was like, why? Oh, thank you, Chapter House, for fucking up the names of all of my Eldar. I'm glad you stuck it to the man, but damn, are you fucking my names up. For anyone who didn't know, the reason that all the names are changing, such as Adeptus Militarius and Eldari and Tiauri and everything else, is because when Models Workshop got their asses sued, they actually didn't win. They lost.
We got sued?
So,
when did we get sued?
Did I say Models Workshop?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh. Well, apparently there's someone down in Texas who was talking about it at one point. Because, sharing screenshots is slander. Fuck me, people are stupid. Yeah, that really happened, too. I'm gonna sue him for slander. For what? Because he shared my screenshots of what you said. Yeah. You might want to look up what slander is there, buddy. That's not how that works. No, Games Workshop got sued by Chapter House. And, where are my glass beads? Oh, there they are. They weren't in the drawer.
Clint, stop laughing, damn it. My mind didn't go there until you laughed.
Low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits.
I don't think Larry's that old.
I don't know. You want a picture of those next?
No, thanks.
So, the big thing that came about it was GW had a lot of things that they called their shit that they couldn't copyright because they were too generic, such as Space Marines.
What, like when they sued Spot the Space Marine?
They did not, and that is honestly, GW was completely innocent in that one.
Really?
That was actually That was an Amazon fuck up. That was an Amazon fuck up, and people blowing it way the fuck out of proportion before finding out what the fuck was going on. And I literally talked to the person who. Okay, so for the people who don't know, I do audiobook reviews and book reviews for the Founding Fields. We've kind of slowed down. We used to have a review every day. Every day we had a review from one of our reviewers because we actually had people that wrote content for the website.
Because it was a thing called book reviews that do reviews of reviews.
But no, we did book reviews, and the big thing that we were known for was being Black Library reviewers. We reviewed all the different stuff for Black Library, and we were also known for being very blunt. And some of our reviewers, like prime example, Prosperos Burns, like 2 of our reviewers loved it. 2 of our reviewers, including myself, hated it. And we were honest about it. We told what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it. So we were pretty well trusted as a source. Well, when the Spot the Space Marine thing happened, we reached out to the author of Spot the Space Marine, and I will say that she is a very, very interesting person. And shortly after I reached out and had gotten the okay for an interview from her, I decided I didn't want an interview from her. What happened was, they saw Spot the Space Marine. That's all they saw. Someone emailed them and said, hey, look, we found this on Amazon. And Amazon was like, or GW was like, huh, okay, well, we need to look into this a little further. So what they did was they contacted Amazon and went, hey, we saw this book. Just to give you a heads up, it might be infringing on our IP. We want to look into it a little bit more. We want to review it. Amazon, not GW, Amazon pulled the book off the fucking website. GW never told them to pull the book off the website. Amazon, of their own regards, pulled it off the website. So GW actually did not. That wasn't their big deal. They They didn't try to say that Spot the Space Marine was infringing, because it was lowercase Space Marine. He was a Marine who happened to be in space. He wasn't a 7-foot-tall dude in robotic armor, a.k.a. Adeptus Astartes Space Marine. So, yeah. That's what happened. That is the truth of the entire Spot the Space Marine, and everyone fucking grabbed their pitchforks and their torches, and basically, they're the ones who caused GW to go off of social medias when Will Wheaton and all them started fucking attacking GW. So, for all the GW fans who've been pissed off that Games Workshop has not been on social media, go talk to them. It's their fault.
Yeah, but because of that, they then had a massive restructure. And they've come back with social media and doing it properly. Because the social media at the time was dog shit. Around sort of 2011, 2012, actually when my now nearly 18-year-old was getting into the hobby, this is when I got back into it. It was all great fun and games, but the online presence was absolutely fucking terrible.
There was none.
They had their local...
They had Voxcaster, and no, you were completely correct. It wasn't that great. And they really kind of screwed the pooch on their social media presence.
They didn't really understand what social media was about. These days you talk to any marketing person and they'll tell you social media is not about making sales. Social media is not about getting a new audience. Social media is about keeping a relationship with the audience you've got and then organically growing it. It's not about making sales. And GW at the time, I think, with Voxcaster, were just pushing, this is our new product, this is our new product. Come to the store, we've got things on a double price. Not half off, but, we'll sell it to you double.
And one of the things that really fucked them up was, okay, so if you're wondering why GW suddenly changed their ways, they basically got rid of their old CEO. And the old CEO was straight up nothing but, hey, we've got to make sure that the shareholders are happy. And that's all he focused on, was making sure that the shareholders were happy, and forgot about the gamers. And that's where GW started dying. Yeah. And then they fired the CEO, and they brought in the CFO, who's been with GW for 20-something odd years, and put him in the CEO, and was like, hey, where are we fucking up, guys? He was literally he was in the US, and I talked to a couple store owners, going to the different GWs and talking to people. This is the dude that runs Games fucking Workshop, and he's just talking to everyone like, hey, how are we fucking up? Hey, what can we do to improve? Hey, what would you like to see? You guys may sit there and dig on their what is his name? The British bloke who's on YouTube,
Duncan.
Kind of corny. Duncan. People they clown on Duncan, but that is exactly what GW needed. They needed that person for the new people, for the people that are getting in, for the people who they need someone that they can relate to. And that's why Duncan is kind of this goofy, fun type person. And he's exactly what Games Workshop needed. That was what they wanted. People wanted. So you can clown on him, but, I look at what we had in the past, and he is basically the new fat bloke in Andy Chambers. That is exactly who he is. He's the fun guy at GW that you can talk to and bullshit with. You can talk to on Twitter, and he'll actually talk to you. And this is all part of the new CFO plan. That's why these starter boxes, they're smaller, but they have more stuff in them, and they have some actual value. You pay $90 for them, and you're getting like $150 out of them. And it's useful shit. It's not shit that you can't use. It's not, this unit that I'm never going to use, yada, yada. We needed to make it where the mold was worthwhile, blah, 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 so we're going to toss it in a box. No, it's units that you're actually going to use in your thing. And this is coming from feedback from players. Just like the board games. Do you know why they're doing the board game model that Simon basically created? The reason is because it justifies making molds for miniatures that people want, such as Eldrad. Do you think would have gotten a plastic Eldrad in the next 20 years if it hadn't been for that damn box set? No. Why? Because they were able to recoup their cost by selling the board game and applying the cost to the molds. And hoorah. And if for the person okay, what if I don't want to play any of these characters or either one of those armies? It's still a fun fucking board game. It's not, oh, I bought it for the miniatures and the board game is shit. No, actually, Silver Tower, the Battle for Calth, and all those, they're actually fun games. They're not shitty games. And that's kudos to GW for actually fucking paying attention for once. And once again, you guys may laugh about a lot of people who I've talked to have been like, oh, those painting guys are stupid. You know what? Guess what? They're not for you. Those painting guys that GW put out aren't for you. They're not for me. They're not for Peter. They're not for Yeji. And they're not for Clint. They're for the person that are getting in. That's why they're so fucking basic. Do you want to know why I do so many newbie tutorials? Because that's what's watched. I can do a fucking tutorial on the perfect Zenithal highlighting and I'll get 20 views on it. I do a video on basic airbrush fading and I've got 60,000 fucking views on it. Think about that. Who are watching the videos? Who are actually reading these tutorials? Who are actually doing it? It's not the people that are advanced. It's the new people.
Well, and the guys are great. We met a couple of the... actually met Peachy.
I got to talk with Peachy for a little bit, too. He's pretty cool.
Most of them are. They're actually... They were hired because they're great personalities. And, you know, not a lot of people have taken a piss on them or not. But I have seen it a couple times, and I'm just like, stop. I don't know why you're saying shit, why you're being mean about it. Dude is exactly what GW needed. He is the face man. He is like when I first started painting, we had Fat Bloke and Andy Chambers, and they made Games Workshop fun. They made it enjoyable. They made it where I wanted to fucking actually go and paint miniatures. That's who Duncan is now, and the team that's over there. Bravo, GW.
It's a shame it took them so long to realize it, but I'm really happy they've got there, because what they're doing now online is so much better than they ever have done.
It is. It sucks that it took so long, but you know, it's one of those deals where basically it was a cancerous person that was in charge, that was driving them down, who was who was only out for money. And when they lost track of who actually made the money, which is us, their profits went down. They had one of their most profitable quarters like this last year. They have one of their most profitable years this last year. And you can directly track it back to whenever they started giving a fuck about the players. And that's where you make your money. That's where you make your dividends, is you make the people that you're selling the fucking product to happy. We buy more. Hi. And they're finally implementing shit that we've been asking for since 2nd edition. I shouldn't have to buy a new codex because you want to put in one new fucking model out. How hard is it just to put a damn data sheet out and release the fucking model? Hi. Hello.
Yeah, I remember buying a sheet of printed stickers from some third party just to put in the 5th edition codex rules manual of all of the FAQs and errata and everything. You basically they printed stickers and you could just stick them either in the margin or over the rule with the updated rules, because you'd spent 30, 40 quid on a hardbound, or these days as well, 60, 70 quid on a hardbound book. No. Actually, the books, they dropped the prices on the books substantially. Have they?
The rule books are actually, oh yeah, my rule book was only 40. And I say that, but in all okay, so back in the day, I used to buy, they were soft cover and they were 25.
Yeah.
Now it's hardcover and they're 40. So honestly, that's about comparable. Now, I wish they would offer us a softcover edition for 25 again, but whatever. But no, the codexes are down to like 40, except for the Space Marine. It's 60, but the Space Marine codex is like twice as thick as all the other codexes.
Right. Yeah, I found my 6th edition codex in the attic yesterday, and it's still sealed. And it has absolutely no value at all, because whatever's out now has superseded it, and I could stick it on eBay and have somebody come and collect it from me and just take it from me, use it for kindling.
Yeah, I was tempted to take to the auction the old 3rd, 4th, and 5th edition codexes that we have, but I was like, no one's going to get those because they're kind of collectible, but then at the same point,
Those I've kept because those are there's some great art in them, and
that's true.
The fluff. People buy them for the fluff.
For the fluff, yeah. And I think the 6th edition, I mean, I haven't opened it, so I don't know. The Space Marines is just a very thick book. And I guess they've gone with through every single chapter for a big chunk of painting guides. Because I can't imagine the fluff was very much different from 6th to 5th.
Well, kind of. Between 5th and 6th is like when the Horus Heresy shit started popping off.
Well, that's when they added in flyers and all the wonky rules for those.
Oh, the Overwatch rule and...
No, Overwatch was something I believe that was around in 2nd edition, if I remember right.
It was, but it wasn't implemented. Like, it went away for a bit, then it came back.
Okay.
No, it was in 3rd edition.
It wasn't in 5th. I know for a fact it wasn't.
Okay. It wasn't... I'm pretty sure it was in 3rd. Someone's going to message like, no, it wasn't, you stupid ass.
Yeah, well, I can't talk as an expert because, I didn't have a rule book in 2nd. I had a codex and a bunch of minis, and I still have them somewhere.
Bet you love those minis now.
Well, we stripped them when my kid got into it. I went into my parents' loft and pulled down my little old mid-90s briefcase, the carry case that they had with the little red tabs, and found all of my armies. I had a few skeletons and zombies and things from fantasy, but all of my Space Marines and a chaplain on a bike, and it turned out that there wasn't as many as I thought. But it was just enough to strip them down, reprime them, and give them to my kid to paint in whatever scheme he wanted.
Right.
And so I gave him the poster, said, pick one. Here are all, however many on the posters, 100 chapters, with the last one is ghosted out because it was the missing one. They didn't know what it was. The one that got lost in the war. And so he went...
the one from Legion of the Damned?
Possibly. Although I think Legion of the Damned are on there. There was just this one ghosted out thing. It was, whatever we decide to come up with to sell you at a later date.
To be determined.
To be determined, that's right, yeah. And so he just stuck his finger in the middle of the poster and went for Blood Ravens because we hadn't even seen Dawn of War. And he went straight for the Dawn of War colour scheme.
Okay.
And everybody says, "Oh right, do you play on PlayStation?" I said, what are you talking about? I said, "No, we just buy plastic and paint it." So I have an entire suitcase filled now with maroon and cream coloured little men, so, with the Forge World transfer sheet somewhere.
Did you let him play the game?
We'd moved on. PS2 had long died at that point, so there was no Dawn of War. But when Space Marine came out, we got that, and that was one of his first online multiplayer games, and he loved that for a good 6 months, and then nobody played it anymore, and all the servers quit, and there was no game to play anymore. And,
yeah, that has to happen.
And all the shit that happened to him at school as well. So he then quit the hobby and decided to do other things. Unfortunately, at the all-boys school, they decided that even though he started with one of the teachers, a 40k club, his friends in the 40k club ganged up against him, kicked him out.
What?
I know. So he basically had to leave the club that he started. He's basically Steve Jobs.
So he's going to come back and make it even better.
No, he said fuck them, and he's doing other things now. Every now and then we might pull out Space Hulk and try and have a game of that together. And to be fair, we've done that once in 3 years. So every now and then is very, very once in well, not very often. But he's found other things he likes, like Cards Against Humanity and other sort of vaguely nerdy things. But he went through a really bad patch of being picked on for being a GW nerd. So because of that, my wife hates the hobby.
Oh, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Hasn't stopped me, though. Although I have been exiled to doing the hobby in a shed in the garden.
Really?
Not really. I've exiled myself, but it means I can get on and do it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you have air conditioning at least?
It's England. We don't need air conditioning. I have a small heater.
It rains.
It rains. It's sunny for 3 days a year. And if you want air conditioning, you open the door.
Okay. Do you have a dehumidifier? Like, how is the humidity affecting your paints? Like, have you ever painted in a non-humid area?
Well, when I built this, it's not just a wooden shed. I've double skinned it. I've insulated it. At some point, I will double glaze it so that, well, the plastic windows are not as good as I thought they'd be. So this is actually just meant to be a cheap tool shed, but I tweaked it. It's got fluorescent lighting. It's got 20 power points and an airbrush and a computer monitor screwed to the wall, and it's now a workshop with insulation. It still gets fucking cold here at 3 a.m. though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a nice little fan heater blowing behind me, which actually is really handy for drying models.
Because we have the opposite problem, because not having any humidity to really speak of, like, wet blending is not a thing here.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really have to wait too long to let layers dry. That happens pretty much instantaneously.
That's fair enough. Are you not painting with oils then, just to combat the lack of humidity?
No, I haven't used oils. Yeji has though.
I mean, they're fun, but it's not. I would get so annoyed with it drying. I'm very impatient.
I can understand that. I have a load of oils on my paint rack, and again I turned and looked at them, and I haven't opened a single one yet. I keep meaning to, for some of the larger things that I'm doing, that I want to use the oils for dot filtering and weathering and fun, interesting effects that I can then carry on blending over the course of days.
Yeah, I mean, they're
but
fun, definitely.
I just haven't had the balls to open them yet.
Well, maybe you and James can talk one day.
Yeah, I've been listening to some of his chats, and I have a lot of time on my hands at the minute, walking this beast of an animal that we picked up, and it's a dog. You know, it's got 4 legs and a mouth, and it craps at one end, but it's so much bigger than we thought it would ever get.
How long have you had the dog for?
A year and a bit. And he turned up at Christmas a year ago, and actually my kid had he had a Christmas job. He was an elf in the local mall, and with the money that he made for that, he bought his mum a dog for Christmas, which goes against all the advertising about buying dogs. and so he turned up one day. So he's actually my stepson, and so he and his dad went off and found on Gumtree a dog. And just turned up on the day before Christmas Eve with this shaking wet mess in his arms and said, "Hey Mum, Merry Christmas, have a fucking dog." And she said, "Oh yeah, thanks. What do we do with it now?" And look at the size of his legs. Look, he was 3-4 months old, and he had legs the size of the length of a table. And so now we have a small pony.
That sounds like something Yeji would do. Oh, look, honey, it's so cute and so small. And then he'll come back and be like Mouse.
No. I'm getting a corgi, so that's already decided.
Okay, Your Majesty.
Yeah. Well, my mom says I like them because they're short and fat like me.
That's just because your mom can be really Asian.
That's a really horrible thing to say.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, I hadn't seen my mom for a couple of years because I kind of ran away from home. And the first thing she says to me, not even hi, it's, "Yeji, you got fat." I hadn't seen her in like 2 years at this point.
Well, you can depend on parents for that sort of thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was talking to my mum the other day, and it was, "I'm really sorry we pushed you into doing music, because you're not doing anything with it now, are you?" don't worry about it. It's like, that's not what I'm doing right now, but, and you didn't really push me, and that's maybe why I'm not doing it. But that's not for this podcast, is it?
Was it an instrument?
Yeah.
What is
yeah,
it?
that's, I, unlike everybody that I've been listening to lately, I didn't do, my degree in fine art or building plastic. I did it playing the violin. And then after that, I decided that I wasn't good enough to play the violin, mostly because I was too lazy and didn't like practicing. And figured that maybe I should be a composer instead, because then I could write for movies, because there weren't, that market wasn't oversaturated at the time. And so I did I did 2 postgraduate degrees in writing music, one for concert composition, so in theory, on paper, I have words that say that I'm qualified to write music for large orchestras and choirs. And then I did another one to say I could, write music for films. And have I done anything close to that? No, because I'm lazy. And people don't listen to music. People have music on, but people don't listen to music anymore. So if you'll have music, you'll find... Do you guys sit there and do nothing other than put a record on and sit there and listen to it and enjoy it?
Nope.
Or do you put a record on, or a CD or Spotify, and do something else? Have a conversation, do cooking, cleaning, with music on as wallpaper in the background.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where...
When I was younger, I used to listen to just classical music, just sit there and just listen.
But that's changed since then, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also found that people don't like paying you for writing music, because it's not a tangible thing.
We'll give you exposure.
Oh, yeah, I love the exposure. It keeps me warm at night.
It's so nice when you go to the store and you can pay an exposure.
I know. Yeah. It's we'll give you some credit. My first credit somewhere on IMDb. I probably have a credit. I got paid. No, I didn't get paid the $1 that I was meant to be paid. So I was a student and I wrote a minute's worth of music for an American production for a short film, and the contract I signed on email was for $1 plus credits.
Oh gosh.
I know. I don't know if they used it. I've never seen the film. They wanted... God, what? I don't know why I can remember this, but I can't remember important things. I had to write a 43-second tango. And it was, for a film, it was a retelling of Death of a Salesman. But I think it was called Death of a Saleswoman.
For some reason, that sounds familiar.
And that was a short film, and they might not even credited me for the film. They certainly didn't pay me my $1.
Well, how long ago was this?
Coming up 20 years, maybe.
And adjust for inflation, they probably owe you like $6.
I might as well just
go get your money.
I might as well just take the exposure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, haven't you heard? That's the big thing now. Pay him an exposure.
Oh, Larry's back. He missed that bit.
Huh? What did I miss?
We were just talking about exposure and buying groceries with exposure.
I tried that once. That was a bad day in jail.
I might try it with when Barclaycard chase me for my next month's payment. When they ring me, I'll say, well, how about rather than I pay you, I just feature you on a podcast, because then people will know about you a bit more, then, won't they?
Well, that's called advertising, my friend. That's actually an actual thing that people pay for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
One of these years.
That's exposure.
I'll expose you.
You've exposed yourself enough, thank you. Just that I haven't even seen. I don't want to see the photo. Thank you. But just the mental image of coins and cocks is enough. I mean, poor old Yeji has to live with that memory forever now.
Poor Yeji, she was one fucking egging me on, and poor Yeji's reaction was "Holy shit!" So I don't know about poor. If anyone is poor and needs eye bleach, that would be poor Clint.
Yeah, randomly waking up to something like that's not very fun.
And being constantly reminded about it is even better, right?
Actually, I don't really remember too much because I was like half asleep. I was working graveyard at the time.
And it was about time for him to wake up, so like I didn't go running into the room going, "Oh my god, look at this."
Fair enough.
She totally did.
It was when he woke up, that's when I went, "Oh my god, look at this."
So I'm going to give a little bit of free advertising. Or exposure. I'm going to give a little free exposure to this company called Wizard Pins. Or Pin Wizards. Damn, I got to look up their name. So, the funny story is, back when I was in Iraq, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was the dungeon master, and one of my platoon sergeants, Nick, he used to make fun of me all the time about being geeky. And he's geeky too, so it was all in all good fun. But he did Transformers, I did D&D. So he started calling me on as my call sign, Purple Wizard. So this company I got targeted advertising on Facebook, and it was these pins. And I actually love lapel pins or hat pins. I kind of collect them. Not hardcore collect them, not like, oh, I don't have this one. It's more of, I don't know what the hell you'd even call it. If I see, there are certain ones that I will collect, like the Ninja Turtle ones. I'm like, ooh, Ninja, but that's just Ninja Turtles in general. I found some cool ones from South Park, so I got those. And I love enamel ones. I'm not a big fan of the stickerish looking ones. I'm more of a fan of the enamel ones. So I got hit with this targeted advertising, and their logo, I shit you not, is a wizard with a big purple hat. I was like, oh. So I messaged them. I was like, hey, first off, love pins. Really do. And I do. And second of all, so I sent them the story that I just told you guys, maybe a little bit more detail. And I was like, hey, my call sign was Purple Wizard. Can I buy some of your pins in your logo? Because I know you had to have your logo as a pin. If you're a pin manufacturer, it only fucking makes sense. If you make brushes, you're going to have brushes. So, and they're like, oh, hey, you know what? No problem. We'll just go ahead and send you some. So you can see what our quality is. Because I might have mentioned possibly utilizing their services in the future. Because actually their prices were really reasonable. Like, surprisingly reasonable. Like, $2.40 a piece reasonable. So, I was like, alright, cool. And, yeah, so they sent me 3 of them. And, yeah, they actually are really, really nice pins. I was very surprised because it was this smaller company. And they do coins, they do lapel pins, they do keychains and everything else. So it's like one of those really just neat products that, you know, if there's a company out there who decided to give a piece of acrylic for an award last year and are wanting to look for something cool, cute, and chintzy that painters would actually, I don't know, wear and could wear on lanyards or on their shirt or hat or whatever. Yeah, this place, they were like $2. I think the 2-inch ones were $2.38, and they went up if you got a little bit bigger. But the quality is freaking great. They sent me 3. They sent me a chrome, a gold, and a black one. And it's really deep cuts. The enamel is poured in such a way that the metal is completely exposed, which is how it should be. The enamel went on really good. Their enameling process is tight. So yeah, totally free advertising. They don't even know I'm doing this. It's wizardpins.com. Yeah, so one of these years when Models Workshop actually makes money, maybe, we'll possibly order some of these up, like, to hand out, because they're pretty freaking cool. I'm not even joking. I really like these.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep. Totally free advertising. I was messing with my pin board. I actually have a board that I have that's on my unboxing table. It has a cork board on the backer, and I literally stick up stickers of different things, like Brick World. When I went to Brick World, I got one of their stickers, and I stuck a Brick World sticker up. And when I got my Wrathcore stuff in with the miniature holders, I stuck a Wrathcore sticker up. And then when I got Bombshell miniature stickers, I got those are up there. And then Lynn just sent me a couple Metalhead mini stickers, so I put those on my board. And also on the board on top of the stickers are a whole bunch of hat pins, ranging from Mario characters to South Park, Ninja Turtle stuff, a lot of Pokemon, some Army ones that I had, and so those are all up there too. So I was just sticking those on there, and I saw the wizard pins because I'd misplaced the black one, and my kids found it, and they kind of halfway stuck it on the board. And I was like, oh, you know what? I should probably talk about these guys, because they were cool enough to like randomly send me 3 of these pins, and they're really cool, and I really think that would be awesome to order these for Models Workshop one of these days.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah, it really is. They really do have a really neat product. Really, like, if you're seriously contemplating running a small painting tournament, like maybe even Wayne over at KublaCon, these would be nice prizes. These would be something that painters could literally put on their lanyards and wear. That's why, GW hands out first day or second day pins, or first cut pins, to people in the Golden Demon competition, so they can put them on their lanyards to show, hey, I made at least first cut.
Oh, I've got several. I've entered ones.
But that's the thing that painters like, is little chintzy shit that they can show off, not a $5 Loot Crate acrylic looking thing. Mm-hmm. That irritated me so much when I saw that shit last year. I don't even want to go enter Crystal Paintbrush this year. And I have the chance to. I don't want to, because if I happen to win, I'm going to get a fucking lanyard. Fuck that. I want a trophy.
What, the prize last year for Crystal Brush wasn't a crystal brush?
Fuck no, it wasn't, dude. It was a goddamn square piece of acrylic that's 2.5 inches by like 3.25 inches that had crystal brush blah 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 on it, and the place that you won was the color of the fucking lanyards, and they weren't even that nice. They literally looked like some cheap chunky piece of shit that you would get from a Loot Crate.
Wow.
They were fucking horrible. Yeah, Cool Mini has done some questionable shit in the past, and that was probably literally the dumbest and shittiest thing that I think I've ever seen them do. Other than try to cut the chibi competition out of their painting competition when half of their games are fucking chibi. Why do people seriously support that damn company? Seriously.
I haven't posted on their site for years.
It's not even posting, it's buying their shitty games. Those people have literally kickstarted 34 fucking games. Hi, do you think at some point in juncture they'd be able to, I don't know, self-publish? But no, they're going to use Crutch Starter over and over and over and completely kill what that platform was designed to be.
Well, it's a nice no-risk thing for them to do with all of their high profits, I'm sure.
Yeah, blah, blah. You know what? You know who it fucks over? It fucks over the gaming stores.
Absolutely.
Because, that the 50,000 people that ordered a copy of Massive Darkness, oh, well, look, they're not going to... That's 50,000 people that are not going to buy a copy of Massive Darkness from the local gaming shop. Guess out of all the population of people that are actually going to be interested in buying Massive Darkness did during the Kickstarter, probably 90%. So that leaves 10%, or 5,000 copies, distributed across the entire United States of people who didn't actually fucking buy one because whatever reasons. And this is another reason that Cool Mini is really fucking irking me, is not only are they absolutely abusing the shit out of the Kickstarter system, is they are literally fucking over every local gaming shop out there. Every single one. Because they are taking money out of the pockets of the local gaming shops and saying, fuck you. Oh, and guess what? Guess who takes the risk? Not us. It's going to be on the people who buy the game. Not really, because, the games are done. The games are fucking done by the time you pledge on them. You're just pre-ordering. Now, Hasbro has a brand new little system coming out where it's on their own website their own website. Hey, here's an idea. Instead of going to Kickstarter or Crutchstarter, go to Cool Mini or Not, post up a fucking game. Go, hey guys, hey, we got this game we want to publish. Whenever we get 10,000 sales, we'll actually publish the damn thing, which is what Hasbro did. Takes the complete risk off of them. It still allows them to fully fund the game and publish it with no risk, which is still kind of crutchy. And it gets off of fucking Kickstarter. Because, one, it doesn't make any goddamn sense that they're sitting there losing on, okay, what was it? Rising Suns, they generated like $2.6 million in sales. So they gave Kickstarter $260,000 to be on their platform. The fuck? Seriously, there's better ways to do this shit. And all they're doing is literally fucking over everyone. The only people that they're not screwing over is themselves, because they're sitting in this fucking safety net of not having any type of responsibility to do, of any type of failing.
I like that kind of responsibility.
What, none?
Yeah.
You're on the wrong fucking podcast, my friend.
It's all right. You've just hired me to run one.
I can fire you too.
I'm sure you can.
That.
But that has to be done in person.
Oh, is that part of the contract? I have to do it in person?
Yeah, you've got to fly over here, look me in the eye, and say fuck off.
Well, you know, let me get on my knees, you short fuck.
Don't start that.
I'll make sure to bring I'll make sure to bring a US dollar over. Just here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, I think
fuck off.
I think I might actually have one in the kitchen.
Well, I gotta say, for $1, you're the cheapest fuck that I know.
Well, that's the nicest compliment I've had today.
Yeah, too bad it's like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, you did call me. What did you call me when you saw me on Skype a couple of hours ago? It was a hairy gremlin or a hairy hobbit or something.
The hairy hobbit.
Yeah,
the hairy hobbit. How tall are you? You've mentioned how short you are multiple times. How diminutive are you?
I actually don't know. I'm.
What? Are you the What are you, Benjamin fucking Button?
Definitely not. No, when I was 18, I was measured through a medical at 5'9", and so
okay, I've not that short.
No, I've gone at 5'9" for ever since. Of course, I had a girlfriend at the time who was 5'8" and an inch taller than me.
What?
So I obviously wasn't 5'9", or she wasn't 5'8", but she was taller than me, and she was a good inch taller than me. So there was some maths gone wrong there.
No, it's called y'all try to fucking imperial that shit up in a metric system. Y'all drop the damn decimal point somewhere.
There's no decimal points in feet and inches. Goodness me. What are you taking? You're taking on the French system now. God.
Hey, what can I say? Ooh la la.
To be fair, I drive in miles. People are in feet and inches, but houses are measured in millimeters.
What?
How the hell does that work?
You just put a few more zeros on it. You know,
I get that, yeah. But how?
I don't know. We live in a really mixed up kind of society where we measure things in kilograms now. We've got rid of pounds and ounces. Everything is metric now for decades in supermarkets. You'll buy a 4 pint of milk, but it'll actually tell you that it's 2.012 liters or whatever the calculation is. So they'll sell it to you in the metric, but it's actually still pints. They just give you the really awkward metric conversion for it. You'll buy.
When you buy gas, do you buy liters or gallons?
Well, we have different gallons to you.
What?
Yeah, the US gallon is different to the English gallon. So a gallon in England is 4.54 litres.
US gallon
is 5 litres.
UK. Holy shit.
Uh-huh. Your ton is different.
Holy shit.
Yeah, your ton is different to our ton.
No, he's not even fucking joking.
No, I'm not.
1 US gallon is like equal to 0.8326 imperial gallons. Where the fuck did you get this from?
I don't know. I wasn't there when they changed it.
Fucking obviously. That I completely learned something new today. I had no idea that the UK gallon was completely different than the US gallon.
Yep.
wow. Okay. And it's called the Imperial Gallon. Now, I knew about the tons.
Okay.
I knew the tonnage was different.
And we spell it differently as well, because our ton is TONNE. And your ton is TON.
Well, English has a habit of adding fucking unneeded letters everywhere.
No, you've deleted letters from your language.
Because we are smart and realize that the fucking U isn't needed everywhere.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's color, not color.
Yeah. But you see, in my mind, you've just taken the French side, and that's...
Now, actually, that was a Benjamin Franklin thing.
Was it?
Oh yeah, Benjamin Franklin.
Was that
He's the
before
one who
or
went
after
through.
he got hit by lightning?
Probably after.
Right.
No, but luckily someone with some sense stopped him because he was going to go through. Oh God, you think it's bad now with us dropping a couple silent U's? Oh. He wanted to get rid of every silent letter in the entire English language.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then, replace letters, tough. He wanted to spell tough, T-U-F.
Perfect.
He wanted it to be, if this is how it sounds, this is how it's spelled.
He was one hip-hop motherfucker.
Apparently.
Yeah, you if you think our language is bad now, if he'd had his way, he only got a couple of the minor changes in. Yeah, he really wanted to radicalize the entire fucking dictionary. He wanted to rewrite the entire thing.
One of the best skits I've seen about all this was from Eddie Izzard, and it came with the how you say the word herb or herb, depending on where you're at.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, it's really funny.
Herb, we call it herb because there's a fucking H in front of it.
Damn right.
I call it herb.
Yeah, and you guys, you call
the H is silent.
There's an H there. Why would it be silent?
Because it's fucking silent. It's herb.
It's not French.
We ain't talking about a goddamn VW bug here. There's no Herbie floating around. It's herb.
Herb. and what race do we all belong to? The I can't even say it without pronouncing the H. The human race.
Uman?
Uman. Yeah.
What? You got a problem with their fucking Uman race? Fucking right, we're Umies.
It's amazing. It's like there's a couple of thousand miles of water between us.
There's 1,000 miles and not 2,642 kilometers. At least we can keep with one fucking system. It may be fucked up, but we adopted the entire thing. We're not sitting there waffling over it we're going to do imperial for this and we're going to do metric for this because fuck all common sense. But we're going to adopt some things that are fucking imperial, but we're going to change it from what everybody else does and make it our own because, haha, we're British.
About 5 or 6 years before I was born, we changed our currency. So the old English pound, it was pounds, shillings, and pence, and they then
hold up. It's not that now.
We have pounds and pence, but the shilling is long gone. And
what the fuck is a
shilling?
Jesus, I thought a pound was a shilling.
No. A shilling was something like a twelfth of a pound or something like that. I'm not quite sure. It's literally before my time.
Who the fuck uses base 12?
We love base 12, right? we run our clock in base 12, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Our day is in base 12, split down the middle. And so our money, I think, was basically base 12, and 12 score. A score was 12, and then 100 weight with I think was actually 12 score or something.
Which is
somebody will write
12,
in
4 score, whatever it is.
Yeah, and everything's in 12s.
How is stones done in 12 base?
Yeah, what the fuck is a stone, anyways? What type of weird ass man? I weigh 8.7 stones. What?
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
I don't even know. I have no idea what the fuck a stone is.
I'll have to look that up. I don't know. I actually.
What are you
going
to tell me in pounds or kilograms?
So while you're looking that up, before we did this, the more you know segment, we never got a definitive on gas.
Oh, they use imperial gallons, which means they're...
the gallons are different, but he never said if they still bought them by the gallon or if it's done by the liter.
It's done by the liter.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so if y'all use a base 12 system, then why the fuck is one stone 14 pounds?
I know, right?
Seriously, the fuck, man?
Yeah. To be fair, I personally do weight in kilos. So
What?
I'm however heavy I am in kilos.
But you use... Oh my god, and you call us weird?
Hey, we have our own thing. We live on an island.
No shit.
Yeah.
Maybe you should actually look for some genetic stock off of the island.
Oh, no, we voted as a country to not do that anymore.
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is very true.
Yeah, we decided that the way forward was actually to cut all ties with the rest of humanity.
Here's here's one point I'd like to make. I have yet to meet a single person who thought that Brexit was a good idea. Who the fuck thought it was no one I have ever talked to has said, "Oh, Brexit, that was a great idea. You know, us leaving the European Union, that was fucking stellar." No, said no one. No one. Literally, not a single person. I can at least find someone who voted for the person that I didn't vote for, but I have yet to meet one person that went, "Oh yeah, leaving Europe, that was a great idea."
Yeah.
Are they to the point where they can't use a computer? Because that's the only thing I can figure is they have no idea how to use a computer, so we never hear from them.
No, it's the aging population. We have a lot of people over the age of 65 who can use computers, but they tend to not use it for looking up things that are important.
Like economical damage that could... Now, honestly, the best thing that happened with Brexit, Forge World got so cheap. Oh, it was like $1.20 a pound. I was like, oh, come to Larry. Larry made lots of Forge World orders because it was so cheap. It was cheaper buying Forge World than it was buying Games Workshop.
Wow.
Dude, it was $1.22 for a long time for a pound, which is the cheapest the pound has ever been. Why the fuck do you call your money the pound? Like, at one point, was it, I don't know, it was a big 1 pound stone that you carried around? At least Canada makes some sense with their loony and toony. Your pound shit makes no sense at all.
Well, we used to use guineas and groats, so that was also before my time. I don't know how much a groat was or a guinea. But those were coins that they used to have.
You know, when I read Harry Potter, I seriously thought that half the shit in there was like made up, like the money system, like how they count their money out. The more I'm listening to you talk, no, it's actually how you do it.
Yeah.
It's just us crazy Americans think that it's like weird, crazy, and magical and fucked up because...
No, this is why Brexit has happened. It's because just marginally half the population thinks that we still live in the fucking Middle Ages. But they all want fast broadband and cheap petrol. But apparently it was fine before we joined Europe. As in, 1066 when Europe invaded, and 1215 when we signed a whole load of articles down the road and had the Doomsday Declaration of the census of the entire country. And these were all before we joined the European Union, and everything economically was fine then. So it was fine then, so it could be fine again.
Well, yeah, you don't have anyone alive that remembers how horrible it was, so everything was honky-dory.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your pound is worth basically $1.40 now.
Jesus.
It was down in March of last year, which I think is when the Brexit vote happened. it got down to $1.19. Damn. If I would have bought like 1,000 pounds, I would have made in 1 year's time over $100 in turnaround.
Oh, you could have converted that into like some sort of hundredth of a Bitcoin.
Well, it depends. Is this Tuesday? Because that's basically how you have to figure out what the value of a goddamn Bitcoin is going to be. Everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin's 18,000. I'm just like, oh, somebody's going to lose their fucking house on this. Oh, look, Bitcoin, 7,000. Oh, that's almost a third of the value. Sucks to be you.
Well, that's what happens when you play the stock market, right?
The tax credit craziness on it, too. Like, I had a couple of friends that did the Bitcoin thing. And they're like, yeah, taxes-wise, maybe that wasn't a good idea.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that you're kind of doing capital gains, because this is basically stocks. And they're like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin, I'll just put this in here, and it goes up in money, and I get it back. Hey, cool. They don't realize that Uncle Sam wanted a cut of that, because guess what? That's a capital gain that wasn't taxed already, so hands them over.
Now, what's really crazy about the entire Bitcoin thing is that I remember Bitcoins when they were like $10 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh my God, am I not kicking myself? Like, my buddy David, I swear he bought like 2 or 3 Bitcoins when they were at the $100 range. He says he didn't. And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure you did. I am pretty sure you have a wallet floating around somewhere with like 3 Bitcoins just sitting there. And I was like, I don't know. If I were you, I would be looking, because as of right now, they are $10,400. Now, they're down from, I don't know, their peak at $20,000, but still, for the people that bought them, back in 2017 when they weren't fucking ridiculous.
Back in 2017.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Bitcoin bubble, literally, it's only been the last 5 months that Bitcoin has just went fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've got friends trying to get me into Steam it.
Okay, in April of 2017, a Bitcoin was worth less than $2,000. If you go back to December of 2015, a Bitcoin was $300.
Okay.
If you go back to, let's say, all right, 2013, beginning of 2013, a Bitcoin was $20. By time the end of the year, it had spiked from the $30 up to $1,100 and settled at $600. So this was about the time Dave, yeah. This would have been about the time that Dave would have been buying, and I swear he bought some, like, around June or April of 2013, when they were about $100. I don't know if he sold it at $1,000 or what, but yeah. And then it stayed at the $1,000 range for a hot minute. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell happened, but it's like, boom, $20,000. Bitcoins are just, I don't know. I can see the merit behind them, but at the same time, $18,000 a piece? The fuck? Give me some Dodge coins.
Well, that's basically what the UK Treasury's doing now, with the pound.
Well, at least your money is starting to go back up.
Maybe. I think that's an anomaly.
It is. No, it's still down. I remember when the pound used to be like $1.80 a piece.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came to the States, it was at least $2.
Right. I remember that too. I remember the range of it being in the $2. I mean, I remember when it was in the $2 range, because I remember I was in France and we ended up going over to a British controlled and we had to exchange out, and it was like 5 francs for £2, and 5 francs was about $1.
Right.
Or no, it was 10 francs for £1, and then the francs were 5 for $1. Now, I will say the euro fucked over some countries, and I can almost see why British was like, no, we're not switching, because like places like Italy, yeah, a lot of places didn't do their conversion properly. Like, they didn't actually convert the prices. They just slapped a 0 on the back end of stuff. And it took a hot minute where people were not getting screwed over.
that wasn't too bright, but that's kind of their own fault.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when did we come over into the currency? The euro happened, what was it, 1992?
Oh, no. Was it that long ago?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was...
We had
a phrase, it was 1992 and all that.
No. Dude, I was in France in 92. There's no way. We were using francs.
I think that's when it was starting to transition.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I remember specifically using francs because I remember getting 10 franc coins, and it was a coin the size of a fucking dime, and I'm like, this is $2. Why the hell do we still have dollar bills? And I'm 12 at the time going, wow, our system is screwed up.
Yeah, it's because you have a very big economy based on girls dancing.
Yeah.
They got a slot.
Just feed BB-8 the coins, are you?
You know, Vegas has done very well with that, so we need coins for things. And bills.
For slots?
You need... Well, technically you just need the dollar bills for slots now, unless you go to like a vintage place. They don't... Most slot machines don't accept coin anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's all gone to what's called a Tito ticket. It's a piece of paper with a barcode on it that has your denomination amount.
Yeah, I got one of those ones at McCarran on my way back, and I had nowhere to cash it in. I had $1.53.
And you and dollars just don't get along.
No, there was nowhere in the airport there that I could actually use it with, so I think I threw it away. It's like I'm not coming back to Vegas for at least another year, so it's I'm not going to hold on to this. I think wasn't even 150. I think it was 115. So it was it was next to nothing. I couldn't even buy I couldn't buy anything with it in the airport either.
No, the airport's expensive.
Yeah.
$1.50. That's a drink at the water fountain.
I think the paper's almost worth half as much as what was printed on it.
On what?
The paper that the Tito's are printed on.
Yeah, the Tito paper is... I don't know, maybe it's not quite that much.
Well, I mean, you know, I've been having this conversation with a few people about, you know, cryptocurrencies and proxy currencies and actually our money isn't real money. It's not. I mean, the piece of, if you look at I don't know in the States if your dollar bills have this written on it, but on a pound, on the lowest we have is a £5 note. We got rid of the pound note 30 years ago. But it says on there that this bill, it guarantees that the Bank of England owes the person that you're giving it to that money. So it's essentially a bearer bond. It's not actual money. It's a representation of the gold that's in the treasury.
No, ours is something a little bit different.
Right. So basically, we've been running a cryptocurrency as our national currency for forever. And we don't have any gold anymore. It's literally just somebody's computer if it's not fallen offline. The Bank of England,
it has.
Yeah. And when they want to, they just make some new coins and devalue the rest of the economy even more.
Makes you wonder if they actually did a full, like, hey, let's see what we're at. What the actual value of all the different currencies would be around the world.
Probably not very much.
Probably not.
I think the Swiss would probably come out on top on that one.
Yeah, because they don't do stupid shit with theirs.
Well, they stay out of trouble, don't they? They hoard their chocolate and their Nazi gold and stay as neutral as possible. Love the Swiss.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, they make good pen knives.
Do they?
Swiss Army knives.
Oh.
And you say I'm not cultured.
The bad thing is, well, no, I haven't been to Switzerland, so at least there. But I've actually been to like 7 European countries. I think Ireland, England, Scotland.
Oh, okay. So
France.
you're counting them all as separate. That's fine. I suppose we could allow you that.
Euro was done in '99, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
You're just old, and time fucking flies when you're old.
Then we joined, must have been the single market, the European Union we joined in 92. And then, yes, because we were arguing for 5 or 6 years about whether we join or not, with the currency. And our biggest thing of not joining the euro was that we'll lose our national sovereignty. Or we'll lose our sense of being British if we don't have a small gold coin.
So you'll lose your sense of being British and having sovereignty, of being able to just print money whenever the fuck you want?
Absolutely.
So, okay. What do you mean I'm counting them all as different countries?
I know, they are...
Yeah.
The stereotype of Americans is, oh, you're from England. Do you know Bill? And somebody's coming along wearing a kilt and with a very thick Scottish accent. Oh, you're British. It's every America. Yeah, we see Americans as the stereotype of lumping all of our little countries together as one.
No, that would be the UK. The UK is what? South Ireland,
Northern.
Oh,
actually,
Northern...
no. Actually, the UK is England, Scotland, and Wales. Great Britain is the United Kingdom. No, UK is Great Britain, which is England, Scotland, and Wales.
Jesus, you are fucking me all up.
I know, and it's in millimeters
and stones.
That's right.
Because they're base 12 except on 14s.
Yeah, I mean, the actual title of this of this group of countries is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Oh, fuck that. Okay, so I've been to Scotland, Ireland, England, Morocco, West Germany.
Morocco's not in Europe, though, dude. Just letting you know.
Monaco. Sorry.
Monaco.
Fucking Monaco.
I'm like, Morocco's in Africa, dude.
You probably couldn't even point where Monaco is on a map.
Yes, I can.
I've driven past it.
It's not hard to do. Don't blink.
No, it's really small.
It is.
Dude, I won my geography bee in elementary school, okay? I still remember.
Okay, where's Monaco? Where's Monaco then?
Up your butt and around the corner.
That's what I thought. And then Italy.
Which is nearby.
Which is very nearby.
Yeah. I mean, it's Europe. Everything's nearby.
Yo, that is very true. Like, okay, so the biggest thing that we have in the States when dealing with people from Europe is they do not realize how fucking huge the United States is. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, and you guys will literally be like, oh, well, I was in France and then I shot over Switzerland for the afternoon and then I'm in Germany later on. And it's like, oh, that's great. Yeah, I drove all day and I'm still in the same state.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been to Europe. I've traveled around Europe. I've been to the Middle East. I've traveled around the Middle East. People really do not get the concept of how big the United States is. Our smallest states are the size of most European countries. We have Texas, which is an anomaly in the United States even in of itself, but it is almost by itself almost 867 miles across. So it's like 2,000 kilometers across, and it's just one state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one thing. They're like, oh, well, can't you just... No. Driving to another state for a normal human being is not a normal thing. No. Because, our states are quite huge. And Europeans, like, compared to... I don't know how it is in the UK, but I know in, like, France and stuff, driving... Oh, no. You don't drive. You don't drive for anywhere. You own a car... The fucker will be 20 years old and have like 3,000 miles on it. Because that is, I fucking kid you not, because that is how little the French drive. Why? Because they have trains everywhere. And they ride bikes.
Yeah. But in Europe, you can afford to take a train. In England, you can't.
Like I said, I I went to one of your small little islands that's not part of the big island, and I was there for a day or two. But no, like in France, the trains, you'll try. It's like 10 francs, and you'll go from Orléans to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
$2. That's it. $2.
Yeah.
And they're nice, they're clean, and you can, I want to go to Nice, which is frickin', a 12-hour train ride, so it's like 600 miles away.
Yeah.
That's like it's like a $10 ticket.
Yeah.
Because,
if I want to get into London, so I live in South London, just in the north of Kent. And it's 25 minutes up to London Bridge on the train, and the train station is behind my house.
Is it falling down?
No, that's the one in Arizona at Lake Havasu. Right.
I knew that. I was trying to fuck with him. Thank you, Miss. I know my geography and where everything is. Ass.
I didn't know that. I didn't know about the London Bridge falling down being somewhere else. I thought we just rebuilt it.
No, it's actually someone. No, the original London Bridge is in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Someone bought it.
Oh, I see.
And shipped it over to the United States, stone by stone, and then reassembled the fucker exactly how it was taken apart. The original London Bridge is literally in this little fucking city in the middle of a desert called Lake Havasu.
Oh, because the London Bridge we've got now is really fucking ugly.
I've actually driven by the Lake Havasu London Bridge.
Amazing.
Yeah. We not only did we say fuck you guys and left, we stole your bridge too.
No, we paid for that.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was sold for $2,460,000.
Yeah, what year?
45 years ago from 2013.
Really?
Yes.
That soon? The 70s?
Wow.
The 70s?
It's 45 from 13. It's either 70s or like 68?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. I was thinking like 20s or 30s. The 60s?
Well, I mean, the song predates that a little bit by about 300 years.
Right. So apparently you've lost 3 of those motherfuckers.
Apparently so, yeah. But of course, 300 years ago, that's in America is called prehistory.
No, 300 years ago in America, that's called, we said, fuck all y'all and your tea.
Almost. I went to a museum. It was about 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer. I visited some family in Wisconsin. We hopped in a Grand Voyager and drove for a week through a few states, and went down to South Dakota and did a few monuments, and then came back again. And along the way, we stopped at a museum of American prehistory, and it was very interesting. It was talking all about Native Americans and how they literally couldn't settle anywhere because they didn't know how to settle, and so they just kept moving around because they would basically just take everything from all the resources of where they were and then say, shit, what do we do? And they moved on. They had
that actually depends. That depends on which Indian tribe.
True.
Because if you go to the West Coast Indian tribes, okay. So Western Indians built wooden huts because they did not move.
Right.
The Plains Indians, on the other hand, but it was a lot more rain and more bountiful out there, so they were able to establish permanent fixtures. But the Plain Indians, the ones that you think of in the teepees, those are the ones that were more nomadic because, like you said, so.
Yeah. So they had a woolly mammoth. I thought that was very interesting. They've obviously just stuck some fur on a whatever skeleton they had. And then I'm reading through all the different displays and I get to this point. What's happening in the rest of the world at this point? Queen Elizabeth I is the Queen of England, at which point I needed to sit down because this is prehistory. And we're talking Britain's first queen. And America still considers that prehistory, or this particular museum considered that prehistory. And the rest of the world still had, classical music. We had,
Well, if it's pre-American history, remember, America didn't become a thing until like 1776.
I know. It was just the terminology of calling it American prehistory, and then in the rest of the world, we had society, and it just amused me that this was called prehistory, because for me, prehistory is where you have Bronze Age excavations, and you figure out how early man would, dig shit up and figure out how to live. And
well, keep in mind, we are kind of young, Here in the good old US of A, we see if we have a house that's 250 years old, that's like, whoa. But, I know in Orléans, France, they have a house that's from the 1600s. And you guys routinely have castles that are from much older than that.
Yep.
So, I mean, you have to remember, we have a different concept of time than you guys do.
I know.
That, you guys like, long time ago, 1400. Us, long time ago.
The 60s.
1800. Oh, yeah, the 60s. That's a long time ago to us. That's history. For you guys, it was like, that's when they finally changed the flavor of the last biscuit we ate.
Yeah. So, American history is, I think it's before color TV and after color TV.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking close. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But, there's one thing to say about, your upstart nephew over here in the things. Do you speak German as a national language? You're welcome.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
No, it wasn't actually so much England that was really having the issues. It was like the rest of the countries. Like you guys said, you're on an island.
Yeah.
No,
but, fair, because of us, you guys basically speak French.
What?
You write French. You say it's English, but you write French.
Oh, man.
And then you make fun of the Canadians.
What the fuck are you talking about, eh?
Sorry. Hey.
Oh, sorry.
They have coffee down, man. Freaking Tim Hortons is
have some
amazing.
hot chocolate.
Oh,
my God. Did you see that fucking tweet that the German consulate sent out? Oh, my God. Warning to all national citizens, if you are in Canada, make sure to, and you see a Canadian in distress, make sure you go up and give them a hug and buy them a cup of hot chocolate. They're not used to losing. Or it was something like that.
Oh, I saw one about the curling thing for the Olympics. Canadians they wanted other countries to play, so they were gracious enough to lose at their own sport.
This is the first time in their history they have not meddled in that sport.
Well, maybe they just didn't practice, during the summer, sweeping or mopping floors.
Maybe they watched too much Yuri on Ice.
Well, it was a warm summer. They didn't have any ice to polish.
No, one of my friends said something yesterday, and I'm trying to look it up. And it was like, oh, she said she was gonna have some Timbits. And I was like, what are Timbits? And she sends me a little thing, and they're fucking donut holes from Tim Hortons.
You didn't know
No,
that?
I didn't.
Oh, well, I drive far up north that we actually have Tim Burton's. Jeez Louise.
Tim Hortons. Although Tim Burton stores would be kind of cool.
I would not want to eat his Timbits. No telling what actress, or they'd be fucking Johnny Depp balls. No, we have Tim Hortons up on on our route. We actually have Tim Hortons up in Maine, Maine, Canada Light. They've got Tim Hortons up there, so yeah, Timbits are just donut holes. Their coffee's really good though.
Oh, Clint's looking at me and tapping his wrist.
We're at 2.5 hours now, so.
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and talk about a Kickstarter, because we said that we were getting back into the Kickstarter bits. Fuck Tim bits, Kickstarter bits. All right. So, interestingly enough, there is... I lost the link to it. Fuck it. Let's go with this one that Donkey gave us. We're going to talk about the Nemesis Board Time by Awaken Realms. I'm going to fucking kick him in the balls. I swear I hate him sometimes. We're not going to talk about the Nemesis Kickstarter that funded fucking a year ago. Damn you. I was wondering why that name sounded so familiar. It's like, isn't this... Did they repost it? Okay.
Amy had one, Ancient Grudges, Bonefield.
You want to do the Ancient Grudges one?
I don't know, I just opened it up. That was the
Ancient Grudges.
First one I got to.
That was the first one. She posted like 3 that I think are fresh. All right, so the first one we'll talk about is the Bantam Alley Wargame Resin Bits in Terrain. Okay, so that's cool. So it's a Kickstarter for out of Poland. It's totally backed. It has 8 days to go until it ends, and it's a whole bunch of scenery stuff for games, like lots of zombie type deal and everything else. That's, wow, I'm not even gonna lie, that's actually pretty cool. Let's see, pledge-wise. Is your budget? Create your own cast sets. Alright, so basically what you do is you go through and you pay money, and that's how much money you have in credit towards purchasing whatever bits you have that you want. These are 3D casts. Okay, so it looks like they're 3D printed and they're made into casts. And okay,
They have a lot
they
of
go
pledge
from
levels.
yeah, and they're all weird. So okay, I'm just going to say it like this because their tier levels, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's like 20 of them. Shipping isn't included. It is in Poland, so watch out. Shipping is probably going to be high. The product looks good. It looks like it was printed in high definition 3D printer, and then it was cast out. The details on the models look really good, and it ranges from like Humvees, so it's like modern. I wouldn't get it if it's sci-fi. Now they might have some well, no, it looks like they have sci-fi options too. So
they have urban stuff, they have gas station stuff, they have office accessories.
Okay, I found one for $127. This is the unpainted scenery core box. You get 2 urban wrecks. There's 2 different urban wrecks. You get both of them. You get 3 barricades. You get 2 gas station systems and 2 more barricades. Why are they separate?
They're probably 2 different types of barricades.
They're both called barricades, though. Like, is 2 barricades? Then you have an option for $329 for a painted set, and if they paint it to the quality that's shown in the pictures, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's enough to use it. You also have the industrial, so you have urban and industrial. Industrial is going to be more for your sci-fi if you want to do like 40K, and it's got barrels, it's got pipes, it's got hatches, and that's for $39. You got a more expensive one. It adds more stuff to it. Then you have trash cans that include a garbage container, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It actually looks like a real dumpster. No, honestly, if you're looking for some good scatter terrain, after looking at the actually priced units, it's not bad. It is not bad. The prices are reasonable. You do have a nice wide selection. They do have some pretty nice stretch goals that are obtainable. The only thing I'd be worried about is your shipping, because it is Polish, and I'm not sure if they have a seller, a reshipper. They actually have the option for grass tufts, 50 of them for $5, which is not a bad price. It almost would be worth jumping on this just to pick up some of those tufts.
U.S. shipping is $20 for resin bits, $30 for scenery, and free for retailers. Shipping time 7 to 14 days.
How long till the Kickstarter's done?
8 days. So shipping is a little high, but it's almost to be expected.
Coming from Poland,
what I would
that's not bad, actually.
It's not. But what I would tell you is, if you have a painting group or a playing group, get together, buy multiple of these kits, and pull your money together. Is it worth buying, at least looking at? Yeah, absolutely. This stuff looks good. It does. I'm not even bullshitting. The stuff looks good. The prices on the pieces themselves are not bad. I will say if you're going to be one person buying it, the shipping is high to the point that it's going to increase your purchase by like 25, 30 or like 20%. So that's but if there's like 2 or 3 of you going in together to buy something, like if Yeji and I and Amy, who we locked in the closet, all decided to get together and buy, one of each and pull it together, then yeah, it's a great deal. It's marginal if you're buying it for yourself. And that's more of a, hey, I don't mind paying $157 for this kit. Is it worth it? That's more up to you. If it was just the straight $127, then yeah, I'd say it's definitely worth it. Factoring in the shipping does change it a little bit. But actually, totally recommend checking this out. And this is by Studio Level, and it's the Bantam Alley War Games Resin and Terrain. Definitely, I like what they did. Price is a little high, but ultimately, definitely worth checking out because everyone's budgets are different. Now, we're going to go ahead and bounce over to... does anyone else have anything to say about that, Peter?
It looks really good. Yeah. As you say, the pricing is probably best done through, as you said, in a club kind of situation. Everybody chip in and just pay one lot of shipping.
Right.
Because the gas station stuff looks really cool.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't think I would buy their painted. It looks good. Some of it looks good, like their barriers with the graffiti looks good, but their painted cars, like the Humvee hood, that's all rusted. First off, a Humvee's hood is made out of fiberglass. It won't rust. Second of all, it would still have some paint showing even if it was completely rusted. So, Now, if you switch over, Peter, and look at the Ancient Grudge Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Bonefields, 28mm fantasy miniatures. Now, this one's local to you, so what do you see in here?
I see skirmish battles in the realm of Grimgard. That sounds quite derivative so far. Let's have a look.
These are very
since
cartoony.
2015.
I was thinking the same thing.
I
was like, these are damn near chibi-ish.
This is very Citadel from the 80s.
Yes, this is definitely 80 Citadels.
And
that's not a bad. That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's one of the. It definitely looks weird, but okay. Well, okay. So starter set A, which is the one that looks really kind of goofy, they're goblin skeletons. They're not human. They're goblins.
Oh, yes.
That could do it. Oh, and then the other ones are dwarfs. That's why they look so weird.
Plus free fanatical goblin.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's quite cute. I mean, that is quite cute, actually. Sort of vampire goblin leading a skeleton warband.
Oh my gosh.
It
definitely is. Now,
there's a little dwarf mortar, and it looks like a, what is it? Squig? Kind of like a squig, skeleton out squig.
Right. Then they've got the dwarf necromancer. All right. Well, what do you think on the pricing?
Let's see. Starter set B, the dwarf warband, plus a free dwarf white, £25. What do you get in there? Eight figures for £25 plus a freebie.
It's 10. There's actually a little itty bitty one sitting up front that's kind of blending in.
Well, they say. Oh, sorry. Yeah, necromancer 4. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's 10 figures for. Yeah, that's £2.50. £2.50 a mini. So that's good. That's a decent price. That's. I mean, if you're looking at how much is a set of Space Marines of a pack of 10?
It's like 55, I think.
Right. So that's $5.50 each, and this is a little bit cheaper than that.
Yeah. So this is what I'm basing my deal off of. I'm looking at their deluxe box. So it's £65.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting at 2 complete war bands of 20 models. You've got your 10 dwarfs and your 10 goblins. The dice, the tokens, the walls, the rule book, and the crypt. And I'm looking at this, and I ask myself, because £65, that's like $80. I asked myself, would I buy something like this? And honestly, I would actually have to take a little bit more time and read and watch the videos to see like gameplay. If the gameplay is good, I'm not even talking about amazing. If the gameplay is good and they're planning on making additions to this game, and I'm guessing they are because you have options to buy hordes and legions that... Oh, and hell, they've got add-ons for just tons and tons of different, like, warriors and archers and warriors and all this other stuff.
The thing I'm worried about if you're not in the UK is shipping, because it's done by weight and grams.
Oh, did they say that? It's not even declared.
It's down in the very bottom for under postage. So it looks like UK and EU prices aren't too bad, but rest of the world can get pretty hefty if you are buying a ton of stuff.
Is that dwarf?
Oh, wow.
Is the dwarf white made? Are they metal?
I think some of them are metal, but a lot of it's resin.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like it's mixed. I'm looking at some of the unpainted stuff, and it's great. Well, no, I think the skeletons are all pewter. Oh.
Huh.
Oh, dear. Some of them are showing as plastic. What the hell?
Hey, it's from the UK. We mix and match as we can.
It says that the packs of 4 resin infantry is around 15 grams. The estimated weight for the deluxe version is 700 grams.
So if you bought the deluxe and it's 700 and you're in the US, you're looking at 10 pounds. Okay. Now, I feel bad if you're buying the fucking Legion one. Yeah, that's a 25 of the $10 pack, so that's 25, that's 100 minis. That's still not too bad. Okay, that's actually not that bad. Here's my worry on this game. Right now we have goblins and dwarfs. And this is the problem with Kickstarters with small companies. What are we going to look at next? I honestly think that it's hamstrings you only to launch with 2 armies, because 2 armies gets really old really quick. I think they honestly would have been better off if they would have launched with like 4 armies, like, I don't know, humans, elves, dwarfs, and goblins, or dwarfs and humans and goblins and some other evil race. Lizardmen, skeletons, something. Because that would have given us some options to play. Launching with 2 kind of seems really hamstringy. And we don't know if this company is ever going to put out another army. They might take the money and end up...
Well, they've actually already produced 11 Kickstarters.
Okay, well that's a positive. That shows that they have legs and they've been around for a minute and they know what they're doing. Because what happens with a lot of Kickstarters is they underestimate and they don't ask for enough money and they end up screwing themselves over in the long run, Kingdom Death, because they don't realize how much money it's going to cost them to actually do everything. So the fact that he has 11 Kickstarters makes me feel a little bit better. I really wish that he would have had 2 more minutes, or at least another army in there. 3 would have been a little better, because even if he does kickstart another one, we're looking at another year before it comes out, yada, yada, yada. I honestly would give this one a pass. The models look neat. If you want to buy them for the models, awesome. But you're going to have 2 armies for probably at least a year. And that is if he kickstarts another expansion to this game that adds more armies. And that honestly doesn't really carry a lot of replay value. To me, that just seems like it's going to get stagnant quickly. And yeah, I think I would have to give it a pass. The price is okay. I just don't think the gameplay is there. And the gameplay would be very, very important for something like this.
Well, it does look like he's sticking very much with goblins and dwarves all the way through. I mean, the stretch goals are towards the end. If he hits 9,500 mangy goblin werewolves, and dwarf mummies at 8.5, goblins, but then randomly right at the end, an undead goblin fantasy football team. if they get 10,500. At the minute, they've been going for a couple of days. When did they start it? I mean, it's still got more than a month to go.
Yeah, I don't know when it started. It probably is it's probably a 45 day.
It started February 23rd of 2018, so today.
Oh, I mean, it's doing good for just starting today.
If it starts today, it's nearly halfway through for the
funding
for its starter goals for funding. So yeah, it's if he's got a month to go, there's no reason he won't get there. But
it'll probably fund, but it's not going to be. I would not expect a lot of stretch goals. Usually, you can expect 2 to 2.5 what your first day is, unless you have a random weird ass push. So I would not expect a lot of stretch goals from this thing. I'm expecting him to fund, but that also depends what else launches. That's the downside of long Kickstarters, is that you give people the chance of getting buyer's remorse. You also give people the chance of, oh, look, Cool Mini, or what's the other one that's coming out real soon? Night Models just released their new Kickstarter for Harry Potter. Thanks, Night Models, assholes. And I'm going to pull my pledge from the smaller Kickstarter, and I'm going to go toss it on. And that actually happened to a friend of ours over at Ouroboros. They had a really cool bust, but they ran a long Kickstarter, and they noticed pretty much about the time that the new Batman Kickstarter dropped that the Night Models announced theirs, and who was it? Cool Mini announced their next one? Or was it another company that does a lot of Kickstarters?
I don't remember.
But another company that does a lot of Kickstarters also announced.
It might have been Hate by Cool Mini.
I think it was Hate. I can tell you for a fact it was Hate by Cool Mini. It dropped, and he lost like $1,000 in pledges. I think he still made it, but he lost $1,000 in pledges because of that. That's the downside of long campaigns, is that you give your buyers the chance to get buyer's remorse and say, oops, I'm not going to fund you. Or, oh, look, this Kickstarter that I like more has just announced and came out. I'm going to cancel my pledge here, and I'm going to take it over there.
Yeah.
And that is something you have to watch out for. He started complaining about it, and I was like, well, dude, I'm looking at this Kickstarter, this Kickstarter, this Kickstarter, all announced the same time that you started losing money.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just luck, to be honest, because you can't plan around some of these things that weren't announced.
Well, you can plan that once every 3 months that Cool Mini is going to put out a Kickstarter, because it's almost like fucking clockwork now. I even joke about it being their quarterly Kickstarter.
Anyways, my neck is starting to kill me.
But no, that is actually true. Cool Mini, like, you have to factor in that Cool Mini once every 3 or 4 months is going to drop a Kickstarter. That is just the way things are. As much as I like or dislike them, that is what they do. You can look at it. There's a history. Every 3 or 4 months they drop a new Kickstarter. And that Kickstarter will be popular. I mean, it will cut into your sales, especially if you're a small one. So you have to really play on people forgetting that they drop Kickstarters during those times and sneak one in. And sometimes, honestly, a 15-day or a 10-day Kickstarter is not a bad thing. I mean, I would never. I don't like the 5-day Kickstarters, because that, if you launch at the wrong time, there are people that have to make plans on where their money goes. They can't be like, oh, I'm going to launch and boom, expect you in 3 days to be able to come up with the $700. So you got to plan properly. But if you got a cheap Kickstarter where shit's like $20, a lot of people, that's a Big Mac money. Or a Royale with cheese, since we speak French over here, apparently, or we write French.
This isn't Amsterdam.
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, they don't have a Royale with cheese. Last time I was in Amsterdam, I went to a McDonald's. They didn't have a Royale with cheese. I was very, very disappointed.
No, that was supposed to be French, wasn't it?
No, it's because it's when the two of them are talking about going to Amsterdam and smoking, and that it's legal. And
oh, I thought they were talking about France. You know what they call it over there? Royale with cheese. Oh, well. So Yeji's getting a little sore in the neck.
My back's been freezing up for the past couple of weeks, so...
I know. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that your neck is hurting.
To our listeners, instead of like, why are you being such a bitch, Yeji, or a whiny bitch? Like, it's been hurting me for a little bit.
Which is true. Like for the last couple weeks, last couple weeks, she's been having some serious neck and back issues. And it's been causing some serious headaches. So she isn't like shamming out like Amy did, just going, "Hey, I'm tired, guys." We got a dude that's like 6 o'clock in the morning. He's already been up for 4 hours, and he's like straight free snorting coffee at this point.
I've run out of coffee.
He's like, "I need another cup."
He's probably gonna go take a nap after this.
No, I've got to take the dog out in about 20 minutes.
That's not... You don't gotta take the dog out. You gotta fucking take the horse for a ride.
Yeah, and then when I get back, the kids will be up. So yeah, that's me done now for the day.
Make pancakes.
So this is the sacrifice. This is the sacrifice that he made for you guys, people. And this is the last time he's probably ever going to be on the U.S. show. He's gonna be like, "Fuck all of you."
Well, I don't know. I think my wife's away next weekend, taking the kids up to see some friends. So I may actually have a weekend to myself. So,
like I said, worst case scenario, just sit down with James and y'all can sit down and chat. Like I said, just don't make it like 6 hours long.
Well, I mean, this one's what are we at? Coming up to 3 hours now. So.
Just keep it under 2. I'm not sure where we're going to be sitting at size-wise. But anyways, thank you, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. We are going to start really focusing a little bit more on Kickstarters, because that was a really popular feature on our show, pointing out different Kickstarters and our opinions on them, especially when Yeji and I disagree on a Kickstarter, because that's when the fireworks start. But I hope you have enjoyed the Peter.
Hi.
I have.
Oh, that's sweet.
Especially that talk about spraying on the face. Oh yeah, Peter on the face. A little sample of what's to come with the Models Workshop After Hours UK edition. We are finalizing the details, and hopefully we'll have everything launched in about a month or so, maybe a little sooner, depending on how things go. Definitely looking forward to it. I think it's going to do big things. I think it's going to be a great addition to the family. So, if you have an idea for a show that you would like to run by me, give me a message. I'm always open to new concepts. Alternate lifestyle, baby. But thank you for joining us. Once again, this show is brought to you by Audible, and that's bit.ly/After Hours Audible. Go grab yourself 2 free books, not 1. You help us out, and you can literally cancel immediately, and you get to keep your books. Awesome. Literally takes 10 minutes. Punch it in, cancel it. 2 free audiobooks that are like $50 worth of audiobooks. And there's some great ones over there. Like I said, Ready Player One's getting ready to come out in movie theaters. The book was amazing. And if you like the Martian movie, the book is even better. So, anything else you'd like to finish up with there, Peter?
That'd be a no.
I think his kid woke up. I think I heard it.
Hi, sorry. Kid. No, my 7-year-old's just joined us. He's decided to get up before the crack of dawn. So he banged on the window of the shed, and I sort of crapped myself again. Say hi, Braden.
Hi, Braden.
Hi, Braden. Welcome to the After Hours family.
He can't hear you. I'm in headphones.
That's a good thing. This is my sanity.
Yes, definitely.
If I get your track and it's echo, I'm going. You're in. Yeah, that $1 I'm not handing it to you. You will definitely crap yourself afterwards. It'll be the cheapest anal fisting in history.
That's fantastic. Yes.
Oh, and you're the one talking about Amsterdam. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what do you want to wrap up with, Yeji and Clint?
Boy.
Oh, boy.
Yes, that's no problem. Should I stop recording now then? Yeah, okay, hang on.
Thank you for joining us for another great episode of Models Workshop After Hours, your one-stop podcast for laughs and great painting advice. We come out at least every other week, barring emergencies and holidays, of course, covering a wide variety of hobby topics and basically talking about life in general. When you're not listening to us through your favorite podcatcher, you can find the entire crew hanging out at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. That's all one word smushed together, sharing all the cool things that we find floating around the internet and giving out painting advice. You can also find Larry on Twitter and Instagram at MWAH Podcast, and Yeji and Clint the same at Snickernack, which is NICKERNACK. If you like what we do, please make sure to drop a quick review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whatever service you listen to us on. This helps us out greatly and gets the word of the After Hours out to everyone. Models Workshop is done out of pocket. We have no advertisers because we like to be able to be completely truthful with you. If you want to make a donation to help us out, you can at paypal.me/Models Workshop, or you can do a monthly service at patreon.com/Models Workshop. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, grab those brushes, paints, and get to painting.